You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
Welcome everybody to We Have Issues, Geek Elite Media show that's about everything literary. Books, comic books, webcomics, manga, and everything else you might be reading. We're here to talk about them. As always, I am your host, Keith, and I'm joined by my stalwart sidekick, who is always at my side, Josue.
Oh, man. It's been such a sweet week of comics and comics news adjacent. Everything about comics has been great.
Yeah, we have a stack of comics to get to, guys, but there are a few things that we need to talk about before we get to it. Me and Josue we no longer have a show where we can talk about TV and movies and stuff, so we haven't had a chance to really express these opinions yet. But
true, yeah,
we got some major announcements on the MCU front. So I'm going to run down what we currently have planned for the MCU, not just what was in that announcement, but things in the future, and we'll give quick opinions on what we think. So the next thing we got is actually in almost a month from today. It's actually sooner, which is the Loki TV show.
Oh, finally.
I'm so hyped. Liz is hyped, and Liz doesn't get hyped about these things.
Really nice. It's such a mystery. Like, what the fuck are they going to go with? What are they going to do with it, with him?
I think they did confirm that Loki has both a male and a female love interest in the story.
Nice.
So I'm kind of curious to see where that goes.
For sure.
After a month after that, we finally get Black Widow.
Oh, finally? Okay.
And I think that's going to be my return to the theaters.
You are returning to the theaters? Oh, shit. Yeah.
Me and Liz we're both vaccinated. Her husband's vaccinated. We're all
cool.
I actually, tomorrow is my 2 week, after you get vaccinated, you're supposed to wait 2 weeks to let it take.
Yeah.
So after tomorrow, I'm done. I'm good. I can go do whatever. So I think that'll be my return to the theaters.
Oh, dude. So excited for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's for mine too.
Now, sometime this summer, we're going to get the What If animated show.
Oh, yes.
And I'm
That'll
very
be fun.
excited about that too. Yeah. We don't have a release date yet. But we do have a release date, September 3rd. Put it on the calendar, people. This is the day that things change. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings comes out. Or Shang-Chi, I should say.
Yeah.
He actually corrected the pronunciation on Twitter, and I respect that. So, it's Shang-Chi. I'm very excited. I'm fucking excited. And in that announcement video, we saw a little bit more of a clip of the action, which made it look even cooler. So, what do you think?
Oh no, I'm just like the fact that we're gonna get it this year and it's gonna creep up like a lot sooner than we think it is. It's practically here.
And after that, 2 months after that, we get the movie that I think a lot of people are like, this is kind of like the big gamble that Marvel's making.
Yes.
And that's Eternals.
Dude.
And we saw our first footage, Josue.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I really loved it. I was telling you like last time where it's like the hero shot of like the team pose, and then you got like the speedster joining it. It's like at that point, it's like, oh, everything was running through my mind, and we're gonna be different people after we come out of that movie.
Yeah, I saw a really cool interview about Chloe Zhao after she won the Oscar, where they revealed that she's actually a huge nerd.
Nice.
She actually approached Marvel, not the other way around, because she wanted to do a Marvel movie. She was originally trying to do Black Widow, but they went a different direction. But they were like, well, let's keep her name on file. We want her to do something.
Yes.
And so they did Eternals. And apparently Feige went on site and went on set with her, saw what she was shooting, and took a sizzle reel back to the Marvel execs and was showing them. And he's like, this is practical footage. There's no CGI. She found these shots.
Oh,
so apparently it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And if you see Nomadland, you know how beautiful her cinematography can be. So,
fuck. Oh my god, yes. Like, yeah, especially after that announcement, like when she won hella fucking big, and then it's like, oh wait, oh that's right. At least she still has like the MCU movie coming out. Fuck yes.
Also, she used to write fan fiction and will not reveal what fandom she wrote fan fiction for.
God.
So she's just great. She's just a nerd through and through.
This is so cool.
After that, we have two things that are coming out late in 2021, but we don't have a date yet. And that is the Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
I'm so
good.
excited. It's probably going to be my favorite of the shows, I think. And then Miss Marvel, which just finished filming.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that. That's going to lead into something else we're going to talk about in a bit. But next after that, in December of this year, we're still in this year, Josue.
I know.
Spider-Man 3, No Way Home.
When we were getting like these dates back to back to back, and that we were still on this year, for some reason this like reveal trailer of reveals of dates was just borderline emotional. It was just like, because we still know that there was just so much more that they were promising. And yeah, and now it's Spider-Man, and we'll get the super doubtful Andrew Maguire and Toby and Toby cameos.
Yeah, they're going to be cameos at best. People are really hyping that up too much, and they're going to disappoint themselves, I think. So. And after that, starting off 2022, which I should say, in 2022, we're getting 4 MCU movies.
Fuck yeah.
Starting off in March with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I know you're looking forward to this because it's going to
absolutely
trip the fuck out. Like, it's going to be so great.
I want to see like Raimi step it up in the modern times now.
Yeah, well, it's not Raimi anymore.
Oh no, that's right.
Wasn't it? Well, no. It was. Yeah, he picked it up. Sorry, it was the guy from The Conjuring that originally had it.
Yeah, it was like Scott Derrickson who did the first one, and then I was upset about that, but I was like, well, shit, we'll see what Raimi can do now. Like a big name like that for hopefully a horror title, and we'll see what he can work with, what liberty he was at with.
Yeah, and then in May of that year, Thor: Love and Thunder.
May. Oh, that's the May movie. Okay, that's gonna be it's a huge movie then if they give that one the May title or the May slot.
Yeah. And then July 8th, we finally find some answers. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Great title.
Oh, for sure.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Let's not speculate.
I'm excited. I'm happy that they kept it to the original year that they first announced. I think the first when the first all the slots were coming out, they said it was. I remember if I remember right, it was like February 2022 was the original date ish. But yeah, circumstances and everything. But now, shit, they were able to keep it at 2022. So hell yeah.
Yeah. Then in November we get The Marvels. No longer Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah.
So it's going to represent the fact that we're going to have Photon and Miss Marvel probably in it as well. One of the worst takes I've ever seen was one of those sites that hate women for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Said that the fact that it's not called Captain Marvel 2 shows that Marvel has lost faith in Brie Larson. I'm like,
oh my god, the same fucking haters.
I know. I'm just like, dude, just get over it. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
This is my wishful like nerd spec is just because it's the Marvels, all of them. It's I hope Blue Marvel gets included, even though he's nothing to do with all the powers or like tied to anyone there, but still, like I want him around in the MCU.
I'm hoping we see Marvel Boy.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
At least some sort of
because we are doing Young
boys.
Avengers. Obviously, they're building Young Avengers, but with Miss Marvel, maybe so. And then that leads us to 2023 and a series that I don't think gets enough love, and that is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I like those movies.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. They're fun. And, I mean, they might be crap if Paul Rudd wasn't in them, but I really like them.
Oh, for sure. If it wasn't for Paul Rudd, he for sure, he's like, I don't say he carries a movie, because Michael Pena is, as far as comedic relief, characters, is top tier. He's fantastic. You're just smiling and waiting for, like, his next bit. And also, like, the whole crew, like, the whole con crew is just, they're hilarious. But, I mean, like, the first one does suffer from, like, the villain being just textbook two-dimensional.
Oh, the worst? Is he the worst villain besides maybe Malekith in the MCU?
I want to say so. He's just like so fucking boring. Yeah. And then they gave him like the yellow jacket suit. But then the second one is actually hella fun. Like I really do enjoy the second one a lot. Yeah.
And that leads us to our last announcement, which we knew was coming: Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yes,
May 5th of 2023.
I love that whole bit. The sequels being named after volumes.
Yeah. And then we also are going to get the Christmas special, of course. They announced. So other movies we know are coming, like Blade, we know there's going to be there's at least one more I'm thinking of.
There was one also that they didn't really drop a title for, but they've at least like promised it.
Also, no updates on Secret Invasion yet.
That's right. I mean, like that has to just brew. Like it's like at least drop the name. Like we still have to see certain like just eggs just like be placed before we can really call it Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I think the Marvels is going to give us what we need for Secret Invasion. So yeah.
But the I mean, like
no She-Hulk. No She-Hulk. That's the other one.
Yeah, no She-Hulk. That was a good like one that was missing.
Yeah.
But the biggest drop, at least like the promise that they're thinking about working on.
Yeah.
The big four. The family.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
No details, just the number 4.
Just the number 4 was enough.
That 3 seconds got me more hyped than any trailer for the other Fantastic Four movies ever. And I'm actually an apologist for the original Fantastic Four.
I gotta give those again.
I love Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis. They were great in those movies.
Oh, they were fantastic. I gotta give the second one a go again, just to see like the whole like how they did Silver Surfer. I want to see how they did Silver Surfer again.
It looks pretty, yeah. And another quick announcement before I kick it over to Josue. They did announce, because we were talking about Ant-Man, the young woman who played Ghost in Ant-Man is going to be the lead in Red Sonja.
Oh, sick. And
I'm very excited about that. The first hot take I saw on Twitter was someone saying, or it was actually on Facebook, saying, Black Red Sonja. I'm like, well, she's half Norwegian, so you're really only focusing on the black half. First of all, like, why is that a problem? She's more Norwegian than you are, sir.
Yeah, exactly. People, just shut up.
I know, it's so fucking stupid. Just let it happen. I just imagine this dude's argument is just like, I want my Red Sonja almost naked in a chainmail bikini and white as the pure snow.
And white has to be white. God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I'm excited about that. But Josue has another big announcement about something that is very, very close to his heart. So I'll have to give it to you, Josue, to go over that.
So fucking cool. So for the last 3 years, it's been kind of just more like of a pre-production known thing that Bitterroot is being worked on into a movie by Ryan Coogler's production, through Ryan Coogler production. So that's hella fucking fun. And then on Wednesday for New Comic Book Day, it got announced that it's just that much more real, and it's Regina fucking King directing the goddamn movie, and which is so sick. We were just talking about is how like just winning hella fucking big, and then be like, oh yeah, and she's doing Eternals. And Regina King also just recently got nominated for her movie, or I mean, that is for best screenplay, and like got for a couple of them. I think she got nominated for that movie. Got nominated for a couple of them. So. Fuck yeah! I mean, it's Regina King. She does not fucking fail. She's awesome. And then fresh off of just being like just almost there in grasp with like winning big, she's doing a comic book movie now, and it's one of the best. It is one of the best comic book movies because it was 2020's Eisner Best Comic Book of the Year. And God, she's gonna do wonders with this shit. She's gonna and then how the Watchmen show was just hella heavy political, especially with like everything that happened in Tulsa, and then this having to do with a lot of racism during the Harlem Renaissance, and just like so we get to see like the beauty of that part. But god damn it, this is gonna be like a great horror movie, and then like in the most like horrific ways that Tarantino loves to play with, but it's gonna be told through like an actual true lens, and a Bitterroot movie, and it's that much closer, and I'm so fucking excited, dude.
I can't wait till years from now where we can sit down and draw a line from Us to Watchmen to Lovecraft Country to this, and just see how Hollywood realized ensemble black casts can actually make some money.
Dude,
maybe give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited about that. So. Anyways, I'm stoked. I might have to pick up the book and start reading it.
Yes.
Although, God, I spent so much money.
I know.
Speaking of which, as a transition, I set a new record this week with money spent on comics, and I didn't buy a trade. I bought nothing but issues. So
I did spend a lot because I did buy trades like an idiot, but I wanted them. But fuck, dude, damn it. Let's see it. Let's hear it.
All right, so we start off, as always, not with a bang, but a boom.
The biggest fucking boom.
And starting off with my solo book, Firefly, brand new verse.
Nice.
Obviously, it is the Firefly series that takes place years later. Written by Josh Lee Gordon, illustrated by Fabiana Mascola, colored by Lucia Di Giammarino, and letter by Jim Campbell. The big reveal last issue was we were visiting Simon and Kaylee, and they have babies, and they're cute. And basically, the entire issue is spent like getting to know their new reality, as well as dealing with this unconscious girl. And there's some really cool twists. I'm not going to spoil the twist or anything like that. But it's just really fun seeing Kaylee and Simon again. You find out that they named their kids... what the fuck? It was so fucking stupid, and I loved it. It was very Kaylee. I'll find it because I want to get it exactly right. Anyways, while I'm pulling it up. But yeah, there's a big mystery about the girl that they met. And she's... there's something going on with her. And it ties back to, if you're a big fan of Firefly, you know, Earth that was, like Earth no longer exists. Mm-hmm. Let's just put it this way. This girl lived on Earth.
Oh.
Yeah. And they've been gone from Earth for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Or 500 years, I think. Yeah, it's 500 years they've been gone from Earth. So how did she live on Earth? Earth is destroyed. Mm-hmm. That's the mystery. So it's really cool.
Crazy cool.
The kids' names are Ted Winham and May Winnett.
God damn it, that's so dumb.
Yeah. So love this book. I already said last week it's justified its own existence just by showing me them together. So, but it just gets better and better, and I really enjoy it. I'm really starting to like Zoe Wash's daughter too. Her character's really developing well, I think. So, next up, we got 3 boom books that we share. Let's start off with Magic the Gathering number 2.
Hell yeah.
So I got a Hidden Planeswalker variant. I've already showed Josue, but I'm going to make it dramatic.
Yes.
Boom.
So good. And the fact that the spine colors really stick out, I'm really going to look out for that one.
Yeah, my boy at Samurai Comics, I was like, oh, is there only one? I don't know which ones are, which Planeswalker this is. And he's just like, oh yeah, there's a couple ones. And he's like, I can tell which one. And he's like, there's one that Daniel Warren Johnson does. And I'm like, well, that's the one I want. And he's
that's the only one I want, yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay. And then he told me you can look at the spine and see the colors and you can tell which one it is. And I'm nice. My man. So he hooked me up and I got it. And dude, I'm feeling so much like playing Magic again.
I know, right?
I was sitting there reading this, like, I want to pick up some cards. And I was like, no, Keith, no. Don't start that addiction again. So, quick creative team rundown. Written by Jed McKay.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about him in a moment. Drawn by Iguara, colored by Ariana Consoni, and lettered by Ed Dukeshire. Okay, real quick. Jed McKay gave away his invitation to the Hellfire Gala to somebody basically for charity. It was auction, and if you win, you donate the money to a trans rights charity of your choice. He provided a list. I won.
Yes.
And awesome, I ended up bidding $145.
Fuck yeah.
Which the limit I set for myself was $150, so that was fun. And I donated it, by the way, to a Texas-based trans charity because those kids need the help.
Fuck yeah.
So fuck Texas. Anyways, yes. So he sent it to me along with a signed copy of Black Cat #1.
Sick as fuck.
I cannot wait to meet him at a con and have this discussion with him. And it's just so great. I'm very excited. And you guys know we're very excited about the Hellfire Gala. We're going to talk about that in the weeks to come, I'm very sure. So, yeah. But about this book. I'm really digging this.
Yeah, it's hella fun.
It's like a D&D comic. Like a lot of the D&D comics that I've read. It's this random group of people that are kind of thrown together and have to work together to solve a problem, and they have different methods, they have different motivations, but you kind of like each of them. Like I really dug this book. I don't know all that much about the Ravnica guilds. That was not something I really jumped into. As I said, my magic lore is kind of older than that for the most part. But yeah, I kind of stopped really paying attention with the first wave of Planeswalkers.
Okay.
Because I have a Gideon Jura, actually.
Nice.
And, I remember a friend of mine, who's actually a friend of Steven's, too, our friend Stephen Clark, one of our mutual friends was like, every time I see him, he's like, give me that Gideon? Like if I saw him tomorrow, he'd probably say it, and I haven't seen him in 5 years. So like he just kept hounding me with that.
Gideon.
Like, and I'm like, no. But yeah, no, that was the last time. So catching up on the lore and being familiar enough with stuff that I'm like, oh, I remember this. That was really cool. So what about yourself? What do you think?
No, this is really cool because it's like the whole Ravnica and the guild is basically when I started playing Magic, so it's kind of familiar with me. But then there's like the touch and go because I'm not going to keep up with Magic every single fucking set. That's ridiculous. When I'm still buying comics. But I do keep up with like some of the lore, or at least like what every other set or expansion is about, because sometimes it does touch back on certain guilds or places like Innistrad that just is like more of my fancy with my decks. So I don't know what are the updates on there. And I think this comic is actually like taking place, why we focus on these three is taking place with the events that transpired right after the last big event, which was War of the Spark, because they keep referencing like the planeswalkers that have the spark. And the War of the Spark was just a crazy, and especially also with the whole like Nizet being the one dragon ruling over the 5 guilds. That's basically what happened at the events of that one. And it was a really cool set. There was a really great trailer with Liliana, just like commanding like the zombies in the field, and I was playing to this. I think it's like in the end by Linkin Park, but like in a slow down version of it. It's really fucking epic and really cool. But anyway, coming back to the comic and kind of what I do and don't know of like of Magic, it was a really nice touch of seeing like the Cyclops dude when they do go back to like the council. Because when I started, he was just a regular card, a really expensive card to put out. It's like an 8-drop. It's ridiculous. But I always remembered that fucking name. But he was like a regular person from Gruul, from the Gruul tribe. So to see him be an actual guild master now is like, fuck, dude, you come up a long way. Like, fuck yeah. Because I didn't know that.
Nice. I loved the last page reveal. Usually we don't like talk about last page reveals all that much. But I mean, we talk about them, but we never reveal what it is. But Tezzeret. That's just an awesome full page shot. I loved that.
And it was God, I can't believe I didn't think about it because I didn't know who it could be, especially because like they were just pointing fingers to Lazav, who is actually a commander of mine on one of my decks, on my Dimir commander deck. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh shit, don't fucking just point the fingers at my boy. And he's not even there, but it's like, God, it really would be him. It all points to him. And then the last page was like, oh, of course, I'm an idiot. And I was just jumping the gun with everybody else and just wanted to point fingers to. Yeah. No, it's really cool. I'm really liking this comic.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. I love the art. I love the writing. It's just a lot of fun. So.
The covers by Matteo Scalera.
God, yeah. Cool. Totally. Next up, we're going to talk about Proctor Valley Road #3.
Yes.
Written by Alex Child and Grant Morrison, drawn by Naomi Franquist, colored by the wonderful Tamara Von Villen, and letter by Jim Campbell. Aren't you glad you started picking up this book?
Dude, it's great.
It's so good. For a reminder for our viewers, this book is about 4 young girls in the 60s, 70s, probably 70s.
Mid-60s, yeah. Or 70s, are you right?
Yeah, because Joplin, I think she made it into the 70s when she would have been the biggest, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And basically they want to go see Janis Joplin. That's the whole purpose of all this problems that they're having. But a bunch of horror stuff starts happening, some kids go missing, and they basically are getting blamed for it, and they have to do a bunch. And this was a really good next step in this.
Yeah.
We get way more of our big bad, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we start to see a little bit of a divide between the kids and the girls, which I think is interesting. Whereas one says she's thinking about asking the guy out, and the other one's like, so was I. It's like,
yeah, I was like, nah, come on.
Like, don't do this. Not over a dude. Like, so, but yeah, it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. I love the distinct character for each of them. I'm trying to remember, because the first page is like the principal yelling at them and literally introducing each of them, like, again. Yeah. And I think they did that in issue 2. Like, they did this is this person. I think they do quick intros in each book, and I really dig that. Because they did the first one, but it was like page long. Right,
with the cops, or like at one point when they were being interrogated, and it was and the black chick was like pretty like barking back at them. It's like, you guys don't know, like, I know my fucking rights, basically.
Yeah, I love it. They reintroduce this every issue, which it's very TV show. You know, it's like previously on. You know, like, so that's really cool. I dig that. Or
like in the way that he's like throwing like the shade. It's just like it's instead of like kind of setting up a whole scene to just like kind of get to know him in this way. It's just like a quick way to kind of see their problems, even though they're just being their dirty laundry just being thrown out in front of them, which kind of sucks. But at least we kind of see why they've been struggling or what's been going on in their mind too. Before just like I said before, just instead of just setting up a whole scene.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really enjoying that.
Yeah, no, especially like the monster stuff. Like once we do get to like, the supernatural stuff, it is really cool. It's like I get why like the friend was just like, yeah, me too. I'll ask him out as well. Like it's like in the whole adrenaline of like near death. It's like, but like think of your friend, bro.
Yeah, don't be a dick. She called dibs. So
yeah, and shit, she literally had. It wasn't like even like a secret crush or anything.
Yeah, and that brings us to our last boom book.
Oh man.
I saved this for last because, as we always say, we don't start with a bang with a boom boom, but this is might be the biggest boom of the week. Holy fuck, yeah. Dude. So, okay, 7 Secrets. Written by Tom Taylor, drawn by Danielle Denucculo, colored by Walter Baiamonte, and lettered by Ed Dukeshire. Okay, so, as we know, our heroes were able to escape by using one of the secrets.
Yeah.
And the last thing we heard was, "You idiots! Don't you know what you've done? Don't you wonder what happened to Atlantis?"
Yeah.
And then our heroes were in another world. They had to travel for a while to get free. Well, this opens up with the world panicking, and we don't know why. Yeah. And it's really cool. And I'm kind of like, "Oh shit, what's happening?" And the crew comes back, and they're in Paris in the catacombs. Actually, that's where they come out.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they're like, "Hey, we know, blah blah blah." And they're like, they're just trying to do their thing. And they're like, "Well, basically, what happened when we released the secret?" And they found out what the secret was. It was a weapon. It was a country killer, and it says, "Switzerland is gone."
Like
the whole nation,
a perfect country killer,
burned away to its borders. So it's shaped just like Switzerland.
Yeah. Like it's just there's a good shot like the top middle.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just like I don't want to say a crater, but it's just like a sky shot of terrain, and it's just like black, not a hole, but just black of the border of Switzerland. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. It was intense. And from there we got some really cool action scenes. We get to see some characters that really haven't done much yet.
Yeah.
Like Ching was so cool in this, like stealing the bus and stuff. I really enjoyed him, and I love that. Is it Laqueta and Fallon? Laqueta doesn't speak, I guess, and I'm really digging that. And it's turned into this awesome, like spy thriller, like it was originally, but it was more all ages until about 2 issues ago, and now it's kicked into full on spy thriller, like awesome spy thriller, like Kingsman.
Or even with like the drama too, with like the kind of like the whole like the kid's backstory in the last issue, with like almost like the bringing up with like in the fairy world. It's like, oh shit, like it just gets heavy at points, and it's like, oh fuck, we've entered a whole different story now. Like we've grown up in the story.
Yeah, and it's just so good, and we get a tease at the end that there's probably still a traitor in the ranks. So.
Don't let it be the blonde kid. Like just be like, oh, just because I was afraid. It's like, no, just don't let it be that kid.
I have a theory.
Who is it?
I think it's Kanto.
You still. Is there something? And I don't want to say it's because of the mask.
They literally wear a mask. like, I don't know. I hope it's not. But I don't know who I want it to be because I like everybody. So
I know I love everybody too.
What if it's his mother? What if she's upset because the father died? Did I just crack the code? Tom Taylor, let me know if I cracked the code. WHI podcast, Keith. All right, so we're gonna go and move on, and we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch channels now to talk about a different publisher, and that is going to be IDW.
Yes.
We do have an IDW book this week, and it is a channel favorite, Kanto and the City of Giants, number 2. Now, Kanto is created by David Bower and Drew Zucker. I want to give Drew credit because he's not actually working on this book.
Right.
It's always worth getting it. So the story is by David Bower, arts by Sebastian Pries, letter by Ann World Design. And this is the story of Kanto and the witch, and they have to slay this monster to get the loyalty of the dragons. And what do you know? It's a labyrinth, and it's great. Meanwhile, the other two Kantos are protecting the giants who are buried up to their necks, and they have to fight a cool beetle monster, which is awesome. This was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this, and it felt different than every other Kanto story I've read so far.
Oh, totally. At least like we're finally being like it's like 2 out of 3 issues in, but we can actually be sunken into the story, literally into a labyrinth. This one actually felt very different, but at the same time, very, very fun.
Yeah. And then the Shrouded Man confronts Kanto and basically says the witch is going to betray him. And then seemingly she does, but I don't think she's going to.
Seemingly, I really do think, like, in the beginning, there's, like, the little bit of just, like, somewhat of animosity between the two, but the whole little slaver, I'm here to help you, I want to buy that so bad.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good there. So,
and also with the whole, like, with, when we talked to them, like, way back when, and there was, like, that other person that kind of did shout out, hey, is Kanto's name pronounced Kanto instead, based on like there was like the whole reference like to a song, and now I kind of want to feel like it's backed up in this issue when they were talking about like the pharaoh item, and it's like, oh, it means iron, and in Spanish like metal or iron, it's fierro, which is like with the double R like that. There's an I, yeah, sure, but it's again very fucking close to what they're saying. So it's like, damn, I hope it is just it is Kanto.
It's Latin, isn't it? Yeah, what it is. So. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. We have 1 issue left to go on that, so we'll give it a bigger review next finale. Time. Yeah, and then we get Kanto 3.
Yes.
So I'm loving these little bridge stories they're doing with Kanto. Like
absolutely.
This one, the Clockwork Fairies.
The one shot, and then to this one, yeah.
Yeah, so. All right, that takes us over to another publisher that we've been talking about quite a bit lately, I would say. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be Ablaze Comics. The main reason we talk about Ablaze is this book, Eros and Psyche.
Yeah.
Written and drawn by Maria Lovett with lettering by Seda Timafonte. This book is tripping me the shit out, dude. It's very good. Let me make that clear. I'm really enjoying it. But
it never reveals enough to know or to really follow as much as you think you're gonna you're kind of grasping it. Especially when it's like it doesn't really necessarily pick up right after the last one either.
Yeah. It's emblematic of a flawed narrator. Like, they're not omniscient. And she's telling the story as she would tell people. It's almost like she's telling the story to someone who knows what happened.
Yeah.
So,
that makes a lot more sense.
So, like, for instance, if let's say you're giving a statement to the cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, say so-and-so went into that building. You would say they went into the bank. You wouldn't describe what a bank is. You know what I mean? Like, so if no one knows what a bank is, like, it's kind of like that. It's like she's a flawed narrator and she's telling the story as if she's telling somebody who knows what's going on and at least just needs the details. And I really like it because it gives us a chance to piece things together.
Oh, totally.
Like, she keeps just talking about how, when they, what they call it when they get confronted in the room or whatever, the rose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, passing through the rose. She just keeps saying it like we should know what it is,
right?
Like, with everything that happens, and I really dig that. Like that we should know all this, and we are slowly learning it. Also, this page blew me away.
Oh,
like,
right.
The way it was constructed, like all of them together on one side and her by herself. And that was just so good. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. So.
And then it's like pretty much like not the votes, but like the names drawn, just like literally right in the middle, like drawing the line.
Yeah, it's just so good.
No, it's funny you mention that because like there are like particular pages that really stick out, like and just like make you think. Like, first and foremost, I love that we start with like the blank frame almost in every issue. I know why I like that detail about each of the book. It's like its theme. But in the first scene, when they're just talking like in the meadows up against like the fence.
Yeah,
I like this page where it's like the 4 panels on each page. But then again, I get like it's supposed to be moving, like the scene's supposed to be moving. But then the way Maria positions like these two together as like it is almost like how like they're looking at each other, and it's like opposite on purpose being opposite of each other, but in the same position of like being on the third slot. So I thought that was really cool, just positioning our frame in like little spots. So yeah, it's one that's like again like it I guess you're right. It is talking to you like you had to be there scenario, and it's like. I wonder if we will get that review to kind of go back and like figure it out. And like once we do get that review and reread it over, it'll just make sense.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the empty frame thing. One thing I love about this, when we do have cons again, this is just like a blank cover.
That's true.
You can get them to do a sketch and sign right there. That'd be so cool. So, all right, moving on to our next publisher, which is a publisher I bring up for two purposes. And one purpose is Rick and Morty, and the other purpose is the one I have today, Oni Press, with Agretsuko Meet Her World #2. This is one of those issues of Agretsuko that hits way too close to home for me and Liz. So, written by Annie Griggs, illustrated by Abigail Starling, colored by Andrew Dahlhaus, and lettered by Crank. So, basically, they're all called into a meeting, and everybody's like, I'm going to get fired. Basically, like, and I've been there. Like, literally, my company laid off a bunch of people last year, and it was
I remember you talking about those times.
They were just like, you'll know in 6 months. I'm like, thanks. So, so they're all standing there trying to figure out what the meeting's for, and they're thinking things like my favorite character is like, please fire me. Please fire me. I should go to grad school. This is supposed to be a pit stop job. And then he's like, no, you guys actually did really good. You're getting rewarded. And so he hands like prize envelopes to everybody. And the girls open theirs, and it's a ticket to go to a paint and sip where you drink wine and paint.
Okay.
And so the girls are all like, oh, that sounds like fun. And the guys' ones all say, like, celebration to be determined. And they're like, that's weird that they're sending all the girls to do that.
Yeah.
So the girls go, and they're just kind of like, this is weird that, where all the girls are here, and they're kind of dealing with it. Then one of them checks Instagram, and the boys are on a fucking yacht that they rented.
No.
And they're all just like hanging out and stuff and networking. So the girls get pissed.
Assholes, yeah.
So the girls are like, you know what? No, we're not going to stand for this. So they go down to the dock and they find the yacht out in the water, but they need a boat. And they're like, we're going to take that speedboat. And the guy's like, oh, that belongs to a theater troupe. Go ahead and take it. They ruin Midsummer Night's Dream. And they get on, and there's a bunch of pirate costumes on there. So they all dress like pirates.
Yes.
And so they're literally on a speedboat boarding a yacht dressed as pirates.
Oh, fuck.
And basically they get on there and they're like, this is bullshit. You can't have a boys only party that's
Seriously.
significantly better than what you gave us. And they're very much doing the boys only shit where they're just like, hey man, I'll help you out and stuff like that. So they basically shame them. And in the end, the president of the company, who's actually a nice dude, is kind of like, this is actually a really bad visual. I didn't think about this very well. So,
God damn it.
Yeah. So he basically is like, sorry. And then they all kind of made nice at the end, but it was really good. But it did hit way close to home for me and Liz because we've dealt with some sexist shit in the workplace, and I'm always with her because she's my best friend, So I'm never like, I'm with the boys. I'm like, no, I'm gonna hang out with Liz. So
the first thing you would do is text her like, yo, this is bullshit. This is the emo we got.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really like Agretsuko. So yeah. Moving on, we're going to talk about a publisher we talk about occasionally, and that is Behemoth. Josue has a book for us. You Promised Me Darkness, #2, right?
Yeah, you promised me darkness. God, you have to promise me information. It's like, I'll see this one through. I'll see it through, but again, it's not so much like we have like the flawed narrator. We just have the crazy narrator. Like it's like it is like the alien dude, and it's like, and all like the narration, like the squared boxes, like the omnipotent person like talking to you. Yeah, fucking the narrator fucking, he just talks in his own way, like if you were in his head instead. He'll say something like overbearing or just like a little over the top, and it'll literally say like, yikes, or like, oops, like shouldn't have said that. And it's like, I get it. And then there'll be parts where it'll ramble on, and it's like, you get drawn in because like you think like, oh, it's like this is like the information, like the hidden messages in here. But then it'll literally end. It's like, oh, oops, I rambled on for a little too long there. And it's like, what are you trying to tell me? But then like we do get hit with the team because like there are people with powers because of the comment. But I mean, like one of them being is like there's like a talking cat that can teleport you anywhere based by it transforming into a giant fur ball. So like literally go into it and so it becomes a wormhole. But yeah, this is one like I do need at least 2 more issues. Like hopefully the next issue doesn't give me the information I need to kind of tell what's been going on. or at least trying to kind of put the right information together. I even went back and read the first one again just to see like, oh, maybe together they'll make sense together. But it's like, fuck, it's just a lot of like lore dumping. It's like all at once where I just kind of like want to piece it together. And the whole thing kind of is also like in just black and white pages, just like how
very matte too, very flat,
very matte. Like the pages are like that old school, like not construction paper, but like that thick paper like that you kind of actually feel. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, even still, A Girl Walks Home at Night, the comic, it was just very black and white, and not so much just like sketch itch like drawing. It's just like the pages are just like a void sense of blackness just to fill it.
I love this because it's not like they filled white in black. It's like they filled black and white. It's
exactly like that, and it's really cool. A lot of pages, a lot of panels really do stick out like in a really good way. Like this guy, this is the narrator I'm talking about. This is a crazy looking guy. But then you have like pages where you can't really kind of make out what's been going on. Or like this person in the back really does get lost in like the blackness around. So yeah, it's just one I just do need a little bit more like to actually follow it. Cause right now we're just following it being told by a crazy alien.
Looks cool. It visually looks great. What's the creative team on that?
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Through Behemoth, and it's Damon Connolly, because Damon Connolly's "You Promised Me Darkness," and then Annabella Mazzaferri, I assume could be the letter.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's just these two names, and it is also like I tell you a black and white book, so it's not a big team.
Yeah, there's obviously another colorist, so that's ironic. We both have a black and white book this week. I'll talk about one in a bit.
Oh, nice.
All right, we're moving on to a publisher we've taken a shining to lately, and that is Aftershock Comics.
When you said, and we get this publisher for two reasons, I was curious to see what the second reason was. I thought you were going to go with Aftershock, and one of the reasons being the info page.
Oh, no. The wonderful, beautiful info pages. So, Josue, you did not pick up Silver City #1.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, wait, let me see. Oh, shit, it's red? Let me see that info page.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't get that one. Ooh, nice. Oh, that's a good red. That's a deep red.
So, written by Olivia Quartero Briggs, art and colors by Luca Merli, and letter by Dave Sharp. So, the story opens up in an airport, and we see a bunch of people there. We see a couple that are like arguing, just having an argument. We see a woman with her young child, and the kids listening to music, and it's just all these people living their lives. And then on the very first page, at the very bottom, we see a plane crashing coming in. And then I sent you the shot of the plane actually hitting the terminal.
Right.
And they're listening to Don't Fear the Reaper, by the way. And then it's great because like I'll show you the transition, Josue, because I want you to see it. So once again, we see the plane hit the terminal, and everybody's flying around.
Yeah, sorry.
And then immediately, darkness.
Oh, okay. Oh,
like someone just hit the lights.
Yeah.
And so basically, everybody dies, is the story. And a guy shows up and he's like, "I check, please." And so they check her eyes, like, "All right." He's like, "Oh, you passed on. You're part of a mass casualty event." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And so we're following our main character, who is pretty dope, actually. Her name is Rue, and she's hot. This is her right here with her boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
They were the ones having the argument. So they died, arguing, basically. And they get separated. They're like, you go this way, you go this way. And we get taken to this awesome Gothic city. Like, you can see some of the architecture here.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And basically, she meets up with a group of punks with like mohawks and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you haven't been awakened yet." And they start using terminology, that you would normally, the kind of thing when you go to another world they would know and you wouldn't know yet and stuff. And you get assigned like roommates and stuff, and you still have to work for rent in the afterlife is the story. And it's like, that's weird. But there's something really dark and sinister going on here, because basically you're given a new body and you can't die, but it doesn't heal. And so there's patches, which are these people right here that literally have skin grafts to replace injuries that they have.
Oh, okay.
Like it's different colors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But the really grim part is the little girl that was in the explosion. She pops up a couple times, and like, there's something grim going on, is what I'll say. I don't want to even speculate it. But then they're like, yeah, it sucks, but there's some good things, like getting front row seats to bloody fantastic shows, and pretty sure that's Janis Joplin singing right there.
Oh, well, fuck yeah.
So I'm like, kind of like, oh, this isn't bad. Like, and she basically meets a bunch of characters, a bunch of friends and stuff like that. They're trying to like establish her with a relationship. But there's a really cool like arc coming, I think, because like see here, I'll give you that shot. That's the little girl, and there's these like gothic vampire looking.
Oh my god, I love them so much.
And they're threatening her, and Rue shows up to save her, and Rue passes out. So it's already a cool idea. I really, really enjoyed this. There's also the Legend of the Silver Knight, which is like a superhero for this world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked it. So what were you gonna say?
No, the premise is very similar to this novel series I really, really loved. It's called Dead Harvest by Chris Holm, and it was a really interesting premise where in the afterlife, in this, I guess in this take, it's you could just like go into the afterlife and just that's it, or if you kind of like were still attached or too scared to kind of like submit to going through that process, you could technically come back. Like you work for the afterlife, kind of like RIPD, but it's but it's like you get. Oh no, that's what it was. Instead of like going to hell, you could do this job. Sorry, it was this way because it was more of a punishment to live out eternity this way. And it's you go and get the damn souls for hell. Instead of going to hell, you kind of become a demon in your own way, and it becomes but it's written very pulpy, very because it's a very PI detective-y, because like this dude who kind of has like a little sense of morality. Instead of going and possessing a random person to go out and do these jobs, he literally just like, when you have this job, you just stick your hand in the person's body and you just rip out the souls for them. But this person who kind of has like a moral compass, he goes to a morgue and gets like a recently deceased body so he can just like possess that for a while. But it's actually a really interesting take to just like, instead of going to hell, you do this by getting condemned souls. So, and this weird afterlife, like pseudo afterlife. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I might go back for this one.
Yeah, with this one, we don't have anything about like what jobs are or anything yet.
Okay.
But it's already a really cool world. Like you saw the visual, it's really gothic architecture.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested. So, next book for Aftershock, I have the final issue of Scout's Honor, number 5.
Nice. The orange
intro page.
Really nice orange.
Written by David Papose. Art is by Luca Casalanguida. Coloring by Matt Mia and Carlos Mangual doing the lettering. So this is the one, of course, Boy Scouts in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
Young woman posing as one of them is discovered. She's kicked out. She discovered they're really corrupt too. She's kicked out. And this did a really good job of subverting my expectations in one really important way.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I first of all, I loved the book. I'll just throw it out there. Loved it.
Yeah.
So as far as like quality review, get it. It's great. So the Scoutmaster is the father of her best friend, the guy that kissed her, right? When he thought she was still a guy, or did he? That was the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, oh, is this going to be a love thing? Are they going to be in love? And like, I was like, that's interesting because she's like, I talked about like her gender identity was never actually confirmed if she thought of herself as a man, and like, or if she wanted to be a man. There was no like confirmation of anything like that. So I was kind of okay. And so I kind of had a headcanon of what I thought was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it got kind of turned upside down, if you will.
Oh.
So in the end, part of what I thought would happen, happened, which is the Scoutmaster and Kit get into a fight. And then the Scoutmaster's son ends up killing the Scoutmaster to save Kit. Which I was like, cool. Okay. And now they embrace. No. He's gay.
Aww.
He likes men. And it's not outright said, but basically it's kind of like he's probably not interested in her because she's a girl, actually. Like, right. I thought that was really interesting. And the Scoutmaster basically, like, before he dies, was basically saying, like, the reason his son is gay is because she corrupted him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And tried to blame it on her, and she's just, like, and he's just like, she said, I saw what you did with my boy. Was it your degeneracy that drove him to seek the solace with other men, to sully the bonds of our brotherhood with wanton lust? And it's just like, it wasn't enough for you to taint the Ranger Scouts with your feminine poison. You tried to take my son with you. And that's when the son sneaks up behind and stabs him from behind. So.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, and so basically it's like imagine Fallout if they ended up calling a peace between raiders and your settlers, and you actually work together. That's basically, in the end, what they're trying to do is work together to fix everything. So, really cool.
I try to apply that to my Afterworlds camps, and they just like laughed in my head. It's like, that'll never happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this run. I'm very excited. If you guys see anything David puts out, he's just a great writer. Look forward to, he has a Kickstarter for the OZ issue 2 coming out soon, which was, the first issue was excellent. So,
yeah.
We're definitely going to be funding that one again. So, next up, Aftershock Project Patron.
Oh, baby.
Did you get it? I can't remember.
Yes, I really did like this one.
So, yeah, you caught up from the last one, too. Okay, good. Written by Steve Orlando, drawn by Patrick Piazza Lunga. Colorist is Carlos Lopez, and lettering by Hassan Otsmani Elho. So this is the one where basically their version of Superman died, and now they have like a replicated Superman that people can control. But because he's so powerful, it basically takes years off your life every time you do it. And the guy that's in charge drops dead while doing so and causes a bunch of damage. And that's where the first issue ended. Mm-hmm. Now we're basically dealing with the fallout of that, and all these people having lost basically their leader, the one that they all look up to and everything, and trying to grasp what this means and everything. So what do you think? I want to kick to you first, since you are catching up from the first issue.
No, really, really, really cool premise. I mean, like, you did review it, and not spoil it, but you did talk about the first time around, which made me go back and get it. And it's like, yeah, no, this is a really, really cool take. And I like to see Orlando's like having these like original ideas with superheroes, like the president over on Image, and I think this one being like a cybernetic one. Especially, and I love how the way this one opens, like right after like how the first one ended. It's like just dropping like on a highway, and everybody's like, yo, shit, Superman, we should help him, right? And then for him to just wake up, I was like, must have taken a wrong turn, and just fly away. It's almost like halfway robotic, be like, oops, but everybody's like, huh? No,
you gonna
answer this,
like, yeah.
But yeah, because then like a whole bunch of shit that's actually happening on base. No, I fucking love this book, dude, and I love the artwork. Patrick Piazzalunga does a great job. I mean, it's like I love the style. It just like it reminds me very Tommy Lee Edwards, and from 1985, like not sketchy, but like I love the faces. I love the way he draws like the outlines around faces. Really, really cool stuff. Like it's like I just like everything about this book.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
we actually get some
teases
teases of the big bad in issue 2, which is really cool too.
Oh yeah, I know. Like I will have to see like who that is. It seemed like more of a big drop, but the part where like how they dispose of like their late hero, and then how like the team receives it, like how she's just like, we're supposed to get like a clean start of Victory Lap, and not just be like thrown into the fucking sun. It's like, wow, that's fucking brutal.
Oh, I love the throw into the sun. That's such a great Century reference if it was intentional. Because he throws all his problems into the sun. Also, so no, the bad guy, from what I gather, was the bad guy that killed him the first time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because literally the preview for the next issue says the monster responsible for the patron's death has returned.
Nice. So, okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, I'm really liking it. It's a really cool idea. Like you said, it's really an original, different thing to do. So yeah, really digging it. That is wrapping us up for Aftershock. Moving on, we are going to Image. And we have a couple Image books. Josue has a solo Image book. Tell me about Time Before Time. First of all, is this the number one?
Is the number one, and this is by Declan Shalvey and Rory McConville are the writers. Joe Palmer is the artist. Chris O'Halloran is a colorist. And Hassan Otome Olahu is a letterer.
Cool.
There's like a weird take. Did you like Looper at all? The movie?
Kind of.
Okay, I mean, okay, not the movie because
I didn't hate the concept. I love
right.
the concept.
Okay, let me rephrase. Did you like the time travel concept of Looper?
Yes.
Okay, this is kind of more like
I just
that.
didn't like Bruce Willis.
And I was gonna say, like I almost said, and it did start diverting into like the whole TK powers that they really didn't elaborate enough of. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. Just the time travel stuff in Looper that was interesting at first is this really cool book. Basically, like, at some point in the future, where time travel is possible, if you go to the Syndicate, somewhere like in the black market, and if you need a do-over, you can go back in time. you know that also like in Breaking Bad, when at the very end, like towards the end, when Hank needs like that.
I didn't watch Breaking Bad.
Oh shit, never mind. If you need like a clean getaway where you just need like a fresh restart where nobody can find you, you go to the Syndicate and they'll travel you back in time where nobody from the future will ever bother you, and you can start your life over there. Yes, it sucks because you won't have future stuff that you've been used to. Right. Especially how it opens up. It opens up in 1987. And our protagonist is pretty much like giving their clients the rundown, giving us like the rundown, like, hey, like you're just stuck here now. Like, any questions? And like the kid's like, yeah, what's the Wi-Fi password? It's like, kid, Wi-Fi isn't going to be invented for another 10 years. And then the little kid starts having a little hissy fit to his mom. Is like, this fucking sucks. And the mom's like, we had to leave for a very good fucking reason. She doesn't say why, but like, you just paint whatever you want to paint. Cut to 2140, which is the year where he's from. And yeah, the premise of the book is like he's pretty much like been doing this job to pay off to get out of a hole that he's been with the Syndicate. And the thing that just sucks though, like these pods, like that time travel isn't as easy as just like, hey, time travel exists, anybody can do it now. Like these pods, like I guess like they really do take a toll on you, and or even still like they're not these pods aren't super reliable. It's complicated science, so of course complicated parts, and it's going to break down a lot. And it really sucks that he can't finish the last few jobs because his finally almost like his broke down. Meanwhile, he's had this whole plan that, hey, maybe I should steal one so I can just go to anywhere myself, or at least like with his best friend. And they finally kind of at one point they kind of hatch out the plan to maybe do it. At one point, the date of something goes wrong somewhere else where they had to take the protagonist to go finish off another job. And that's when he goes like, hey, wink, wink, go get the pod and do the thing. We come to find out that the friend fucked up really bad on the trip to go leave the client to go to steal the pod. He basically got found out at some point in their future, because they don't just drop people back off in the past. They can also go to the future. And I guess this dude fucked up and went to a particular point in the future around in the 3400s, where it was frowned upon if you were a time traveling smuggler, and they kept him pretty much his whole life. It's just like where he was like in his late 20s, 30s best friend. He comes back as this old man. He tells you like how many years he spent in prison. There was like a war that broke out, so they used they enlisted the prisoners to go fight for the war, and then like there was like a rebellion. He literally got stuck there, and he came back just that same afternoon as the best friend, and just like, this is not the same fucking person. So those are the rules that play in this issue. Because then like for the cliffhanger, this new character shows up, this black chick shows up and is like, hey, I'm stealing this fucking pod and I'm telling you where I want to go. And then shit gets wrong because buttons get pushed on the way to said going anywhere, and they go to this year. Oops. Which is
Christ.
Yeah, they go to that year, and then he wakes up first and he gets her badge and realizes she's an FBI agent. She wanted to go to like the year 21 somewhere, but yeah, you saw the year where there is no date. So that's really the cliffhanger. And so yeah, time before time. We'll see what happens from here. Cool time travel story.
Nice. Sounds dope.
Yeah, interesting.
Our next book is an emotional book. This one got me quite a bit.
Silver Coin.
No. We'll talk about that in a sec. Carmen number 3. So,
yes.
With a K, which I realize is probably Karma. Like they're all plays on Karma. I'm getting that now. Story and art by Gilla March, color by Tony Lopez, translation by Dan Christensen, and lettering by Chromatic.
Nice.
This is really sad.
Dude, yeah.
I loved it. And like, This is quickly becoming a sleeper book for me.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I'm trying to think of an Image series I really like more than this, and it's kind of hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this stuff. You guys might know this one as the girl who apparently killed herself and is now being visited by the girl dressed as a skeleton. And she's walking around naked around the city. And she finds out a lot in this one. She actually comes to grips with the fact that she did kill herself and died.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about, like, something's different with her, that they're trying to get a message through to her before she becomes, the next person, before she gets reincarnated, basically. They want to make sure that she learns her lesson, if you will. And to that effect, she has an interaction with a young man, and Jesus Christ, story was just brutal. He's a nervous young man. He's ready to propose to the girl he loves. He goes across the street to go talk to her. She looks out the window, sees him pull out the ring.
Yeah.
And he gets hit by a car. And then suddenly he can see, them and everything. And when she we found out when she touches people, she can basically see their entire life.
Mm-hmm. Like their life flashes before her eyes too.
Yeah.
And that link. Yeah.
And he's dead. And then another one of these Carmens show up, but this one's Carmilla, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she shows up and she has way less patience for this shit than Carmen. She was like, let's just get this over with. So we know there's a distinction between the different Reapers, which is interesting.
Well, I like that she has at least our Carmen has the skeletal figure.
Yeah.
Where Carmella has the circulatory.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Vessels or going on about it. It's really cool.
But all this guy really needs to move on is he just wants to find the ring. And so she helps him find the ring. And it was really interesting. And then in the end, we find out what they're trying to teach her is, and this is something you see a lot, when you kill yourself, it's a selfish thing to do and you don't think about the people you're leaving behind and what you're doing to them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the message of this. And I was like, fuck. It was just really intense and sad, but really well told. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's really hard to find right words when it's this very specific subject. And it's and I'm glad that books have been coming out where it's if you need help, here's a phone number, reach out.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, to just put in a point of view where it's just well, why is it selfish? It's not really how our character asked it, but sometimes how it was proposed. And and Carmen just the way she laid it out is this is why. This is why it would be a big deal when you wouldn't think it's a big deal just by flipping the switch like that. It's fucked up. And then it's and it's hard because it's not a moment where tough love is necessary or I don't want to say allowed, but fuck, is it just not the right time? But at the same time, it's these are words that need to be heard sometimes as well, just to be again, this is exactly why it's selfish. And it's this book is just heavy as fuck.
Yeah. It's good though. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, totally.
I'm excited to see how long it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And see exactly what kind of resolution we're going to have. So, because she's dead. She's definitively dead now. We know this.
Yes.
It's been confirmed. So, does it end with her being reborn?
The whole thing, her thing, our protagonist is she's avoiding the light at this point to go over, to cross over.
Also, are we going to find out more about Carmen? Is because there's obviously something going on here.
Yeah, I don't want to say if the color aspect is just too on the nose to be this is not necessarily an angel of death, but more her guardian angel, as in not also I don't say Carmen was the original, but has been reincarnated since then. Because even still, he was just rocking the blue suit that was also just a little too close to Carmella's blue whole aspect.
Yeah. So really, really good. But yeah, we do have one more Image book to talk about. And Josue hinted at it. The Silver Coin #2. Written by Kelly Thompson. Letters, colors, lines by Michael Walsh. And you guys might know this one as the one about the cursed silver coin that's going through history. And each issue is written by a different superstar writer.
Kelly Thompson had so much fucking fun in this issue.
She totally did. So the last one was about, a guy with a guitar and he let his dreams grow too big and it ended up costing him. This one was about a little girl who goes away to summer camp.
Dude, and we literally just watched the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap. So the fact that it was just like a very similar setting is like, God, I had so much fun with this issue.
So basically, she's put in a cabin with what appears to be older girls. And they just treat her like shit. Like, not just like shit, they're really fucking mean to her.
Yeah.
And she's trying her best to have a good time at camp. It's very clear. And so, like they actually shoot bows and arrows at her and put a target on her back, which is dark as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They knock her boat over when she's in it. She tries to make a tie-dye shirt and they dump water on her. Like, they're just mean as shit. And then they cut her hair in the middle of the night, which is so rude and cruel. And I just, yeah. So she runs away. She runs into the woods and she finds a cabin. And there is a machete with the silver coin embedded in its hilt. And then we cut away. And we cut back to the other girls, and they're just doing their thing. And then the rest of the book is each of these girls just getting brutally murdered by this machete. like
the best classic Jason murders. Like a reel of the best murders, or like the best parts of all the Jason murders are like just happening. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And then basically she kills all the girls that were mean to her, and then there's like the camp counselor who didn't really help her in the end. And it's, she kills her as well.
Yeah.
And then the coin falls out of the machete and she comes to her senses and realizes what she's done.
Like, God, and that's it. Like the coin literally rolls away and just be like, I got my fix. I'm done. Leaving the girl to just like, who knows what future for herself. Again, and she was the only nice one here. She was the good person.
It's a poor thing. Like, I loved it. It was great. It was grim. It was awesome. So
fucking cool. And the way she looked with like the leather face mask ish, like esque.
Yeah.
Like it was just psychotic. It was awesome. I did want to know, look out for the crow. It's one of, I think that's always the turn.
Yeah.
The part where she cuts her hair and right before she goes into the cabin, there's like the crow says no. The crow really stood out to me in the first issue. It kind of like, because it happens like by the 1-2 second issue. It's as soon as he's right when after they find like the coin and the next band practice, it's like the crow is up on top of the house saying no, no, no. So I think that's like the tell that the little curse that's following them around. But fuck, I really like the silver coin.
The next writer is going to be Ed Brisson, by the way.
Oh, that's just, it's gonna be a bloody mess.
Yeah, so really enjoying that. That's awesome. So moving on, we're going to talk about the usual one we wrap up with when we talk about indies, and that is Vault Comics.
Yes.
So we only have one Vault book this week because Engine Ward got pushed a week, I guess. It was on my list, but then they told me it wasn't there. So
did I saw Rich posting that he was signing some. I could have sworn I read that he was at somewhere doing signings or something like that. But I could have sworn that Sea of Sorrows should have came out this week too, but I couldn't find it.
It was on my list.
Yeah, right. I could not see it. I went to 3 stores. I couldn't find it.
Yeah. So Heavy. I love this book. Heavy number 6, written by Max Bemis, drawn by Eric Donovan, colored by Chris Peter, and lettered by Taylor Esposito. I don't think there's an appropriate page in this book. Like,
really?
It's so inappropriate. I love it. So, quick reminder: these are the people that travel to multiple dimensions to right wrongs, to punish the bad guys and fix things.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the main guy and his partner, who is the hitman who killed him and his wife for the mob. And they just got introduced to their new partner because he blew up Heaven. So he killed all the other heavies. So it's just the two of them. So they recruit a new one, and it happens to be his wife, but from another dimension.
Oh no, shit.
And in this dimension, she developed a really bad drug habit.
Oh.
And she hooked up with the hitman that kills her in his universe. So basically, it opens up with him doing this monologue about sex, having sex with someone you love after not seeing them for a long time. And so we had the big climactic thing where she appeared, and then at the end of the last issue, and then so this whole first page is him doing this, and it's just sex, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Can you imagine a vicious and beautiful reunion sex in the afterlife would be?" And he's like, based on Sharon and Slim's performance, Slim is his other partner. He's like, it must be pretty goddamn nifty. And he's literally just banging her in front of him.
Oh my god.
It's so dark. Just like grim. And he's just dealing with it. And yeah, they basically have to deal with it, and they go on missions. They have to go on missions together. And she's really dark now. She does really dark, horrible things, like killing people and things. Like, it's really great. They go to a world where there's like this king, and their mission is to prevent him from being assassinated because he's the only one who can stop these aliens from taking over the planet. But so they stop the assassin, and they're like, "Cool, that was easy." And the king's like, "Here, eat with us." And she finds out that they tied one of the aliens up and is torturing it for fun. And the king is like, "And yes, you can fuck it. Christ knows we've all had to go." And he's just basically like, and she just realizes he's horrible, so she shoots the king in the head and ruins the whole fucking thing. And basically they get called back to their base, and their boss is just like, literally like, "You just killed that entire planet of people." And it's this whole like concept of like, we know that there are bad people that need to live, but they serve a good purpose. And it's just like, it's just really deep and interesting. And then he sits down, he's having a conversation with his wife, and they start like actually getting along. And like, you can see she's kind of remembering why she liked him in the first place. But sitting outside listening is Slim, and he does not look happy. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited about this book. Like, God.
Yeah, some good drama right there. But it's just such a good premise too.
Yeah, really, really digging it. So that's our only Vault book this week, though. But definitely, we're going to be back next week with Engine Ward, at least Engine Ward. So
sweet.
Next up, we're talking about DC, the distinguished competitor themselves. I have 4 DC books.
No
Josue
shit.
has 1.
Just the one.
We'll close with Josue to transition over to Marvel, but I'm going to go through mine very quick. Challenge of the Super Sons, written by Peter J. Tomasi. Art by Max Raynor and George Corona, colored by Luis Guerrero, and letter by Rob Lay. So this is the one with John Kent and Damian Wayne teaming up and saving different heroes around the DC universe. The Doom Scroll telling them, hey, they're going to die, and we have to save them, right? So the Doom Scroll predicts that they have to save Wonder Woman, and it's basically the Minotaur of the maze is there to kill her on behalf of Ares. And so the two of them have to fight her. There's some really great moments in this, like early on where Damian has like a string, and John Kent's like, "You're going to use a piece of string to save Wonder Woman." He's like, "It's not a piece of string. It's called the Bind of Veils." It's like, the legend is that the gods created it by reverse engineering the threads that make up the lasso of truth. And he's like, John's like, "Wow, that's weird." He's like, and Damian's like, "Yeah, pretty much. I pulled it from my dad's private weapon collection designed to take down the Justice League." And John's like, whoa. Your dad has an arsenal to take down the League? And he goes, "Yes," he calls them contingencies, but yes. He goes, "I hate to tell you this, but your dad's becoming a supervillain." And Damian's response is the best Damian response. He goes, "Nonsense. As long as the League behaves, there's nothing to fear."
I love it so much. And
then John's like, "What about me? Does he have a contingency for me?" And then Damian's like, "Well, actually, he does not." And he's like, "Wait, does that mean that you?" It cut off.
Awesome.
So yeah, they save Wonder Woman. It's a lot of fun. And then I'm just really enjoying it. It is a 7-part series. So the second chapter deals with kind of more the origin of what's going on, and it has to do with Vandal Savage and Felix Faust, which is kind of cool. So it's back in time and things like that. They're kind of time traveling throughout this. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. I'm surprised by how much I really like the Super Sons, because it's not usually my thing. But yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's harmless fun. So great. My next DC book, Future State Gotham.
Hey, Future State's back.
Yeah, you thought we were done, didn't you? No, I actually really didn't want to like this book because I'm like, stop selling me Future State. Written by Josh Williamson and Dennis Culver, art by Giannis Milano Giannis, and letter by Taro Pateri. You might notice I didn't say colorist because it's in black and white.
Oh, this is the one you're talking about. Nice.
This entire book is a giant Akira homage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, god damn it. Like, it's so good. And it's about the Red Hood. Check out this badass costume.
Oh, and it's this book. Fuck. God damn it.
Basically, it's a continuation from the Red Hood story from Future State.
Okay.
Where he's working with the magistrate, but he's also he's playing both sides, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all in black and white, and like, there's this awesome thing where they're saying it's the new Batman, but someone did this to Gotham City. Just did a giant Batman-shaped sinkhole in the middle of
That's a crater. Oh my gosh. That's so actually really cool.
And they're like, oh, it's the new Batman. He's like, that's not really his style. He doesn't really just kill people. But yeah, basically he'd
be like, who said they were dead? And he paid for like everybody's new apartment somewhere else.
But yeah, he basically like Jason shows up to a certain place, the Monarch Theater, and they're like, hey, get out of here, you're not supposed to be around here. And you see who it is, and it's the Bat family confronting him because he's on the other side, he's not working with them. So I'm curious to see where this goes. I gotta
get this fucking book if it looks like that.
But it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, and Jason gets a new costume because the peacekeepers are the big people in the magistrate, so he becomes Peacekeeper Red.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, I really, really, really liked this. I said I didn't want to like it. I did want to like it. Actually, I take that back. I love Jason. So, which takes me over to my next book, Batman Urban Legends 3. Once again, this is going to be, I believe, a 6-issue mini with 4 different stories in each one. The main story is Batman and Red Hood, about the little kid and the drugs, and Red Hood accidentally kills his dad. Basically, Batman. I should do the creative team real quick. It is written by Chip Zdarsky.
Nice.
Drawn by Eddie Barrows, Iber Ferreira, and Jesus Marino, and as well as Marcus Toe doing some of the flashback. Colored by Adriano Lucas and lettered by Becca Carey. And this is where Bruce is kind of like, he actually takes it more seriously and is like, I should work with Jason. I shouldn't just attack him and stuff. So
good. Fucking damn it.
Yeah, they decide to work together to solve this drug problem. And they have a difference in opinion on how they should do it. Which Bruce is just like, we gather clues, and then during the day we put the clues together so we can go out at night and do the right thing.
And then we can shoot them. Yeah.
And then, whereas Jason's idea was, I'm going to punch bad guys until one of them tells me who does the bad thing, basically. Which
classic Batman styles.
That's very Jason. So, and the flashbacks with Marcus Toe are really interesting because this is the one thing I didn't like, and this is just my personal little thing. When it shows him as a little kid, Jason, when he's Robin. And they're trying to figure out who did this, and they're investigating the crime scene. And Jason sees someone walking away who is like Salvatore Greco, who is a former thief. So Jason's like, oh, he must know who did it. He must know. He's suspicious. So Jason goes to beat him up and beats the shit out of him. And then he pulls his little R out like he's going to stab him with it.
Whoa.
And then Batman stops him, and Batman's like, he went straight. Like, he's not a criminal anymore. And then Jason says, the guy's a jewel thief. He'll always be a thief. I don't like that. Because
this fucker's still stealing hubcaps from Batman.
Exactly. I'm like, he doesn't believe that about himself, but then Lily Bruce says, I refuse to believe that. Didn't I meet you in the middle of stealing the Batmobile's tires? So he calls him out about it, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if Jason would think that, but it's fine. It doesn't break it or anything. It's really good. So, and then we find out who's probably going to be the big bad when Jason is walking in this area trying to find it, and then he's like, oh, suddenly it's getting cold. It's a trap. It's getting too cold too quick, and he falls over, and we get Mr. Freeze.
Nice.
So, the second story is about Lady Shiva, written by Shea Grayson, drawn by Alberto Jimenez Albuquerque, colored by David Barron, and letter by Tom Napolitano. This one is a one-shot, and it's really cool. It's about her dealing with the fact that her daughter, Cassandra Cain, is Batgirl. And basically, she's mad at Batman for taking her daughter. She's like, you got all the others. They're all orphans. She's like, my daughter has a parent. And it's like, you took her away from me. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But basically, she ends up finding out that Bruce is a good influence on her and that she's learning to be happy, which that's the thing the most important to her. So
yeah,
it was really good. I really enjoyed that story. Other than Jason, it was probably my favorite story in this. So then we got The Outsiders story, which is a 3-parter. This is the third part, written by Brandon Thomas, drawn by Max Dunbar, colored by Luis Guerrero, and lettered by Steve Wands. And it kind of wraps up the whole story with Katana and Black Lightning, where they've been kind of teasing that maybe they are going to be romantically involved. And basically, Katana's someone uses truth serum on her, and she admits that she cares about him, but not in a romantic way. It's not going to be that. So, but yeah. And then the last one is the Grifter story, which is going to be 5 parts, which is strange. But written by Matthew Rosenberg, drawn by Ryan Benjamin, colored by Antonio Fabella, and lettered by Seda Timofonte. I love the Grifter story. It's just Grifter. Like, I love Grifter. So, he's just being a con man the entire time. And he's trying to outsmart Batman and Bruce Wayne at the same time. And Bruce Wayne knows he's Grifter, but he doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. So it's just like really good. Like, I'm enjoying it. Like, it's again, I always compare it to Hawkeye because Matthew Rosenberg just wrote Hawkeye, and it really feels like that. It's really great. So, all right, that brings me to my last DC book. Festival of Heroes #1. Yeah. I got this beautiful Cassandra Cain cover.
Oh, that's really
my
cool.
Girl. So yeah, I'm going to quickly run through the creative teams for these, and then I'll talk about the stories. So give me a sec. Let me sit up straight. First story is called Sounds. Written by Mariko Tamaki, artist is Marcus To, colorist Sebastian Chang, letters by Janice Chiang. Dress Code written by Min Lee, artist is Trung Lee Nguyen, and letters by Aditya Bidikar. Hawk and Kong, written by Greg Pak, art by Sumit Kumar, colorist Romulo Fajardo Jr., letters by Steve Wands. Special delivery, written by Aniz Adam Ansari, artist is Sami Basri, colorist is Sunny Go, and lettering is Gabriella Downey. Masks, written by Ram V, artist is Audrey Mock, colorist is Jordi Belair, lettering is Tom Napolitano. What's in the Box, written and drawn by Dustin Nguyen and lettered by Steve Wands. Family Dinner, written by Alyssa Wong and penciled by Sean Chin with inky by Norm Rapmund, colorist Rain Burrito, and lettering by Ariana Mayer. Kawaii Calamity, written by Sarah Kuhn, art Victoria Ying, letters by Ariana Mayer. Festival of Heroes, written by Amy Chu, drawn by Marcio Takara, colors by Rain Burrito, and lettered by Gabriella Downey. Perceptible, I'm almost done, I promise. Written by Pornasek Pichote, which is the one who did The Good Asian, by the way. Artist is Alexandra Tefinki, colorist is Romulo Fajardo Jr., and lettering by Aditya Bidikar. And The Monkey Prince Hates Superheroes, written by Jin Lewin Yang, drawn by Bernard Chang, colorist by Sebastian Cheng, and letters by Janice Chiang. So, it's a lot. I'm going to go through them quickly, though. They start off very strong. The first one's my favorite.
Okay.
It's Cassandra Cain. And for those who don't know much about her origin, she was a mute for a long time. She never spoke. She couldn't speak. And it wasn't like she didn't have vocal cords or anything. Her father literally did not encourage her to learn how to speak.
Oh, damn.
So she'd be the perfect assassin, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so it opens with her like practicing sounds, like trying to learn how to speak, like and stuff. So basically, Oracle's like, "Hey, I need you to go here and save a guy." She goes. She beats up all the bad guys. It's really cool action. I should mention that this is Cassandra Cain in this era. when her mask completely covered her face.
Okay.
Which was really cool because she was mute, so you couldn't even see her mouth or anything. Like, I always loved that. So, but basically she beats up all the bad guys and saves him and unlocks him, and he is a hot Asian guy.
Oh, dang.
And he's like really goofy, and he's like, "Oh, it's you saved me. Wow, Batgirl, that's so cool." And he's just like, "So, maybe this is weird, but I'm craving Boba Fantasy's best banana boba right now. Maybe because I'm always craving it. Would you want to go get a boba?" He's like, "Sorry, that's weird. I'm sure you're super busy saving the day. I thought maybe you're thirsty since you're not a robot." He's like, "Anyways, think again." And she doesn't say anything because she's, doesn't know how to talk. And so she goes home and she's like all frustrated with herself and mad. I just love this art. Like the way she's drawn is absolutely just adorable. But she goes to the boba place and is behind him in line. And he's walking off. And basically they forgot a straw. And he's like, "Oh no, my straw," basically, and turns around and there's Cass in her civilian clothes with a boba straw for him. He's like, "Oh, you're a lifesaver." He's like, "Gosh, it's weird, it's like, thanks so much." And then she's like, there's this panel of her being like, thinking like just words is
everything I could say right now. Yeah.
And then she goes, "You're welcome." And she's so fucking cute. So, and then she walks off all chill. And then her comment, her little interior monologue says, "You will be mine," which is just amazing. I love Cass. So
really cute.
Good shit. The second story is called Dress Code, and it is about what's the name? It's a young Chinese Green Lantern. I can never remember their name. But the art it's very different. You can kind of see. And
I see, yeah.
They're basically fighting a Yellow Lantern. And it's about the design of their costume because they have like this traditional like Chinese design with it.
That's really cool.
And it's basically a story about people calling it a dress, but their grandmother being like, "This is part of our culture and I feel proud and powerful." So that was cool. Next up was Connor Hawke. And Connor Hawke it's done in a very Batman and Superman style because he teams up with New Superman, which is the Chinese Superman. And New Superman basically is really reckless and endangers a bunch of people while he's fighting the big robot. So Connor has to keep saving the people. But then in the end, the people are like, "Thanks, Superman." And he's like, "Fucking bitch." Like basically. So, and then basically he shows up to Connor's house and is like, you were carrying some stuff. You dropped it. I bought you some more. I bought you something better because it was kimchi. He bought kimchi and it broke. So he's like, "No, it's Pao Kai. It's even better." And then Connor's mother and grandmother like invite him in. So they all have dinner together. So it was cute. There's also this killer Jay Lee pinup.
Aw.
Yeah.
Dang. Really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Next up is a Damian Wayne story, which is amazing. I when I say it's every Damian Wayne story, it's good because I love Damian Wayne.
Cool.
But yeah, he fights some ninjas basically that are poisoning pizza. And then we get Masks, which I dug this one. This is about Cheshire Cat and Cheshire. So Cheshire is Cheshire Cat's mother, and Cheshire Cat is Catwoman's sidekick. And it's about her basically learning to be a hero and stuff. And she gets an overhead. Catwoman saves her. And, they laugh. It's great. The next one is called What's in the Box. And this is where they first repeat a character, where it's another Cass Kane story, basically. And it's really simple. They sit on a bridge and eat some bao, which is great. So then there's a Grace Choi story about her dating Anissa Pierce, Black Lightning's daughter.
Okay.
And it's literally like Who's Coming to Dinner, where they go to dinner and the dad doesn't approve, so he's just like giving them shit, but then they're attacked by villains and she saves them, and he's like, "Maybe I do like you," kind of thing. So, and then we get the Imiko one. I think she's Red Arrow now. But it's so great because it's done in a really super cutesy anime style.
Oh my god, yeah, but very different in a cutesy way.
That's the bit. Is that everything is kawaii, and everything keeps screaming kawaii at her and like singing at her, and she's like, "I don't like cute things."
That's too funny.
And so then she wakes up, and she cuddles with her little stuffed animal. So yeah, it was cute. Okay, the Festival of Heroes. This is the main story. It feels like the main story. Basically, there's an Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Festival, and there's a group online that says they're going to wreck it because foreigners. And Katana, Cyborg, and Blue Beetle, which is Jamie Reyes, by the way, show up. And basically, like, we're going to protect it, and also the food's really good. This story, and I want to make this very clear in case anyone who worked on this book is listening to me. I really liked it, but it came off like one of those Hostess fruit pie ads from the 80s in comics.
Oh, goddamn.
Where it's just like, Dr. Octopus being like, well, Spider-Man, you'll never get my apple fruit pie from Hostess. And Spider-Man's like, kids, help me. Like, it came off very cheesy, but I think in a good way. So, like, right away, like, Cyborg's eating, and the Blue Beetle's like, hey, man, how about sharing some of that curried roti? And he's like, sorry, dude, if I could, but it was the last one. He's like, we could do halvesies. And it's just like, I'll split my spring rolls with you. And then it's funny because it's like that kind of cheesy story, except the Katana's in the story, and she's having none of this shit. Like, she has no patience for the cheesiness of it, and it's hilarious. They're walking around, and at this festival, there's people dressed as other Asian-based superheroes that don't have their own stories. So, like Grunge, there's a guy dressed as Omak, things like that. So they're like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And then the bad guys show up, and they're literally just racists, but they have a power crystal that gives them superpowers. So they get in a big fight. Long story short, Katana destroys the stone, and they lose their powers. And then the highlight of this is great. They lose their powers to the normal people, and this old Asian lady's like, not so tough now, huh? And then this fucking dude does this crazy flying kick. He's like, respect your elders. Which I love because, like, there's been, like, the assaulting of, some elderly...
the elder people. Lady, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I thought that's really good catharsis to have them just, like, kick a racist in the face, so I really dug that, so...
That elder lady had to be an homage to the lady that fucking owned that dude.
Yeah. And then it was, there's a great moment where they're like, how can we repay you? And they're like, well, we have 23 different ethnicities represented here in cuisine. Help yourself. And Blue Beetle's like, no, that's what I'm talking about. And then Superman, Batman, and I think it's Nubia show up as Wonder Woman. And they show up and they all say at the same time. This is where I got the cheesiest. They all say at the same time, are those dumplings?
Oh my God.
And then they're like, hey, you weren't even here for the big fight. And then Blue Beetle is like, whatever, we can share. It was so cheesy, but I loved it. Like, it's such a throwback. Also, we got 2 pinups by Jen Bartel. No. Sorry, 1 by Jen Bartel. Right there.
Ooh, that's cool.
And then that one mirroring it by Kevin Wada. So then there's a Blue Beetle story, which is really good. Or not Blue Beetle, Adam. Sorry, Adam. Ryan Choi Adam, there we go. And then we get introduced to a new character, which this is the thing I was most excited about, is we get introduced to this new character called the Monkey Prince, which is literally based on the culture, the Chinese culture,
the Monkey King, yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically allegedly the son of the Monkey King, but he doesn't believe it. And so he has like shape-shifting powers and stuff, and he's fighting Dr. Savannah, the Shazam villain.
Mm-hmm.
And basically poses as Shazam to trick him and stuff. He's like a trickster, and it's really cool. He seems like a lot of fun. I really like the style. He's giving me like Beast Boy feels.
Yeah, no, if they do this right, this will be like potentially my new favorite DC title that is inspired by like real world mythos and the fucking staff, dude. Fuck yeah. Yes, okay. If they do this right.
And his advisor is the pig. So
much potential for this character, and especially to just do like DC bullshit to it when there's already so much like lore. I mean, the video game that is going to come out is like based on this. Like, there's like a manga back there called The Monkey King that I have from. It's one of the few mangas that got colorized, and Dark Horse did it. Fuck! So they can just. I'm really excited about this. Now I have to get this issue just because it's the first appearance.
It's cool. It's a really cool compilation. So, and then also you find out he goes to school with Billy Batson and doesn't know Shazam. So
cool.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's DC.
I think I'm more excited for this new character than I am for Reptiles over on Marvels, and we're Marvel boys.
All right, and then you have Wonder Woman. What issue is this?
Yes, Wonder Woman 772. And this is part 3 to Afterworlds. Again, it's just like so funny because like she is out of place here, and it's like I miss my LARP. Anyway, I said part 3, written by Michael W. Conrad and Becky Cloonan, and art by Travis Moore, coloring by Tamara Bonvillain, and lettering by Pat Brazu. So last where we left off, she's been doing like these little quests, kind of based on the stories, and right now she did the whole like hiding in the egg for the snake to find the key that's in there. And the snake gets all pissed. It's like, oh, this is what we agree. And Wonder Woman's like, you said an egg, but you never said what was inside the egg that counted. And she finds the key, but she kind of cheats because like that figure that's been talking to her in this like weird black and white afterlife basically just like gives it to her and is like, hey, let's just like rush this. Here's the key. Just like get out of there. And the whole point like for this key is to fucking like, seal off this like gate, or to actually like be able to keep alive like all these Valhalla spirits. This was particularly like Siegfried, who is like the love interest in this. We do get a shot of sweet ass Thor in this in his little actual Celtic hammer.
Nice.
To which then Odin actually shows up in this one. To which is actually all like of a beggar Odin with the eye patch. And then Odin's pissed because it's like, dude, you're literally letting your people die just because you made this deal because you wanted enchanted weapons. No, fight like a fucking Norse god and do the shit right. And then that's when Diana shows up and it's like, hey, I'm back from my quest that y'all thought I was gonna die in. And Odin's like, oh, Wonder Woman? Yes, everything indeed is connected. And then because in the very Odin fashion, because now he has to answer for stuff, as fate would have it, he gets crushed by a boulder. And quote unquote dies. And then so sure enough, invasion, let's fucking fight. Really cool shot of Wonder Woman and DC Thor in action. It's actually a pretty cool shot when it's not like our Thor. Really,
I like her armor a lot.
No, this is actually really cool. Going with like the cover, really dope. Like with like the silver, red, and blue is actually such a good tone for her.
Yeah.
But anyway, a dude shows up in a giant crab, and he's standing on it, and he's very like Atlantean. And the whole time she's just like, why am I remembering this name Arthur? And it's like, I kind of recall him. He was kind of, she recalls him being very handsome, which I did like that note because he should be. And it's like, but it's almost like, and then she has like, there's implications when you say certain words, right? So when you say the word, but it's almost like a negative. So when she says, but he smelled like the shore or like the ocean, or it's like, that would be a cool. I mean, fishy. I get it, but like the smell of the ocean is actually pleasant, really cool. But she says it in the ocean. Yeah, but she says it, but in a butt fashion. So it's like, I guess it's not for her. So that's when she gets like picked up by the crab, like in the pincer, and crushes. So she dies again, and again this scene, right, black and white. Yeah. Omnipotent person calling her, and she's like, oh, okay, I promise this is the last time. I know what I have to do now. I have the fucking key. So like, I'm literally this close. And he's like, all right, cool. I'll revive you, but fuck it. I'll help you then. And it turns out that that person, which I thought was a different Wonder Woman, or for a second I thought it was Superman. Fuck no, baby. It's my boy, Boston Deadman.
I love that.
Of course, that would be the person to be like helping her like tap in and out of reality and death in post-death. That is Ragnarok, because that's really what's going on here. And fucking Deadman has just been like, yeah, like if you feel like you're out of place, it's because you're needed elsewhere, like everywhere else. Like this isn't your joint. But at this point, Diana being Diana is like, well, I got put in these problems, so now these problems are my problems. I'm not going to leave these people here, despite this being their end of the ends of everything else. Like, fuck no, I made a promise. And it's like, and it was like, it's like to Siegfried, and like, he's like, the whole rule about the numbers, like, were you really doing this for one person? And even Siegfried shows up, and it's like, he's super handsome. He's like, this should be like a love interest for like a while, but now I'm accepting that he's just going to be there for just this arc, and it's going to suck because he's really fucking cute. But he's like, no, you have to fucking leave. Like this isn't really for you. I mean, and we've known this. So she's starting to put out going on her path. And that's when she starts fighting the other anti Wonder Woman from the cover, and she starts kicking her ass. Like, our Diana starts kicking her ass, even though she starts like summing up ghouls, and it turns out it's stupid fucking Cisco Psycho again.
Dr. Psycho.
Yeah, Dr. Psycho could manipulating this like ghoul thing and gets all pissy again. It's like, you're supposed to like be like, out of your path or whatever. And she's like, so this means I should just stay exactly where I'm going on this path if this dude is like making me saying, don't go this way. And she finally makes it to appear where it would be like a Karen looking figure, like the ferryman. And who would it be? But now that there's nobody else around that we can actually talk now, but fucking Odin, piece of shit. So yeah, just Odin like kind of knows some rules, and it's like, yeah, I'll fuck it. I'll take you to the Valkyries, because that's also her whole mission, is to take this key to the Valkyries so they can like do their job or keep the dead in this like, or let them all like pass on over instead of like becoming these ghouls that the Psycho has been like manipulating. And then we get to their base. That's sort of the cliffhanger. We get to like the Valkyrie base, and it's a floating crystal sky. And this whole time she's just been making these like connections, or like the Atlantean dude kind of speaking out with Arthur and Cisco being around. And I want to say like this also might be just like a weird different Fortress of Solitude that the Valkyries just run, because it's just like, it's like the setting is almost there, and it's on like these touch and go places that part of the DC universe that are in this Asgardian DC afterworlds. God, I actually love that sentence. I want that game now. But yeah, it looks like she's almost out there. Next up, she's going to fight these Valkyries, and we'll see what happens. Because everybody's been like, oh yeah, you don't want to fuck with the Valkyries. You don't want to go that way. But it's Diana, so we'll see.
Nice. All right, we are swapping over to Marvel, and I have several Marvel books. So I'm going to go quick fire real quick. Spider-Woman, number 12. Written by Carla Pacheco, drawn by Perry Perez, colored by Frank Darmada, letter by Travis Lanham. It's really good. We're in the middle of an arc, and basically the arc is she's fighting these two guys with swords. All at the same time, she's really not paying attention to her boyfriend. And he's helping her raise her kid and everything. And in the last issue, we find out that he wanted to propose to her, but she had to run off and do stuff. And she's really not listening to him. And then at the end of this, he basically says, I'll always be there for you when you need me, if you need me, but you don't need me. You don't even respect me. And he's like, do you think you feel the same way for me that I feel for you? And she gets upset, and he's like, yeah, that's what I thought, and he leaves. So, poor Jess. Sad. So, yeah, really good. I'm loving this book. I don't want to get too much into it because, again, it's kind of middle of an arc type thing. So, next up, second Jed MacKay book of the week, Black Cat number 6. Written by Jed MacKay, drawn by Michael Dowling, colored by Brian Reber, and letter by Farron Delgado. You might have seen part of this because it was at the end of Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man, which we're going to talk about in a bit.
Oh, okay.
So basically, we find out the whole last issue. We found out the big deal, why they've been stealing all these things. The Black Fox is basically giving Manhattan to this golden god in order to be immortal. Him and Felicia are now immortal. And it's tested right away. Black Fox is young. He becomes young again. And basically, Black Cat is so upset she rips his throat out.
Oh, shit.
But then he heals, so he can't die. So yeah, basically, in the end, he like smoke bomb ninja teleports away. And she has to actually team up with the Thieves Guild, the ones that she was stealing from to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So in the end, they have to team up to stop this. And she gets her ass kicked in the process, but yeah. And the whole point is she's going to get teleported into the vaults to do whatever needs to be done. Really cool story. I'm really enjoying this run. Not just because Jed MacKay is a great guy, but it's just really, really cool. So I love it. It's really great. And it plays very well into the cameo she has in a book we're going to talk about in a bit. So Guardians of the Galaxy number 14. Josue.
Yeah.
Get on the train, sir. Written by Al Ewing, drawn by Juan Frigeri, colored by Federico Blee, letter by Corey Petit. Okay. I'll set this back up. Phyla-Vell, Marvel Boy Drax, and Quasar are fighting Skrulls on a planet. The Skrulls are like worshipping fire, right?
Yeah.
The other team, which is Nova, Rocket, Moondragon, Groot, Star-Lord, and Gamora, were fighting some bad guys that were trying to attack Hulkling and Wiccan. They saved them, and then Dr. Doom shows up at the end of the last issue and takes the Star Sword from Hulkling.
Oh shit!
So he's like holding the sword and being all badass and like, and he basically he's hinting at he needs to hold the sword because there's a threat coming, basically. And Hulkling basically Mjolnirs it away from him. He's like, the sword knows who owns it.
Oh fuck yeah, good.
So Doom is like, fine, fuck you. And Doom does a mind swap. So now Doom is in Hulkling's body and Hulkling's stuck in Doom's body.
Oh shit.
And so Doom starts wrecking the Guardians with Hulkling's body. He stabs Wiccan in the chest, but the Star Sword can tell friend from foe. We learned that when he got it. So it actually just cancels Wiccan's magic temporarily, basically. It doesn't hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fighting him. Meanwhile, Moondragon is playing possum, trying to use her psychic powers. And then they basically trick Doom by being like, hey, we understand you had to get into Hulkling's body because you couldn't beat us in your own body. He's like, what? And basically they play on his vanity that it's like, yeah, we get it. He has powers. He's younger. He could do a lot more than you. And he's like, that's not true. And so he goes to mind swap again. And there's this really cool shot where their souls are going back and forth from their bodies. And Moondragon is like, I'm just going to nudge that a little bit. She's like, what if I introduce a new player? And then we get, I'll put it this way. Teddy's back in his body. Hulkling's fine.
Yeah.
Doom's been swapped with somebody else. What is this indignity? Rocket Raccoon proclaims. She dumped Doom in Rocket's body, and Rocket's in Doom's body.
Oh my god.
And Rocket's like, oh, such a great joke. Or Doom, is like, what a great joke. He's like, this is temporary. Do you think your raccoon friend would want to remain human forever? And he's like, you seen this body? I'd love this body. Rocket's like, hell yeah. And then basically he reveals, yes, there's a threat coming, and I'm the one that can take it on.
Shit.
And so they're like, all right, well, we're they basically make the point that Doom never goes back on his word. Like, if he publicly gives his word, it would ruin his reputation if he didn't,
Yeah.
And he's so, all this stuff. And so they're like, we'll switch your bodies. Peter's like, we'll switch your bodies back, but we have to make a deal. He's like, I'm going to give it a chance, but you're going to do it our way. And then Rocket's like, you're not serious. He's like, serious as draft card, Doctor. Victor Von Doom, you just joined the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh.
So Doom is a Guardian now, and I'm excited. Meanwhile, on the other planet, they found out the planet they're on is Ego, and they did some dark magical thing that transformed it into a big black egg. So something is hatching from Ego. So yeah, it's just been a blast. So yeah. Next up, Silk number 3. We just got Silk number 2 like 2 weeks ago. Written by Maureen Gu, art Takeshi Miyazawa, coloring by Ian Herring, and lettering by Ariana Mayer. I really enjoyed this book. I'm loving this story. It's continuing the story where she's fighting the gangs of New York and trying to stop them from being killed and all this stuff. And her new therapist is actually working for them, so he knows some of her secrets, but not that she's Silk. But her new therapist, or the leader of the guild that she's fighting, is this kind of snobby businesswoman type, but she's young. She's kind of like an influencer type, and Silk gets a mysterious invite to meet with somebody, and someone says, "I know, or you want to know about her," which the lady she's fighting. She's like, "What kind of proud papa would I be if I didn't want to brag about my little girl?" And it's Silvermane. Ooh. So we find out that Silvermane's daughter is the big bad. So yeah. Really cool. Really enjoying this. So, once again, quick firing because I have a stack of Marvel to go through. Star Wars The High Republic, number 5. Did you get this?
I'm dropping in and now. I do need to catch up.
Okay. I was going to say, okay, cool. So, written by Kevin Scott, drawn by Ario Anandito, inked by Mark Morales, colored by Annalisa Leone, and lettered by Ariana Mayer. A very, very climactic thing happens here. So, these things that infected everybody, they're basically attacking all around the galaxy.
Shit.
And the Hutt people are there, and they're attacking the Jedi for violating a contract and all this stuff. Well, in the end, the Hutts and the Jedi have to team up to actually fight these guys. And we find out that Skier, even though he has recovered, is still infected, and he keeps losing control. So what the solution they come to is Skier has to so Skier is going to let his defenses down, right? And when he does, he wants to the plan is, I should say, that he's going to allow his former Padawan Keith Trennis to Jedi mind trick him into thinking that his body is toxic.
Oh, okay.
So that the thing in him would find out, and basically it's going to think that all basically humanoid meat is toxic. So they do it, and just it's panicking all over the galaxy and running away. They're just unclean, running away. But then at the end, Skier's down, and she's like, "This wasn't part of the plan."
Oh shit!
So, but the preview for the next issue does say Keith must risk everything in an attempt to communicate with the Dringer Hive to save Skier and the Republic itself. So he's not dead, but he definitely looked like it. So good shit, loving it. Okay, now we're getting to the meat of the stack. This is my last solo book, and I'm doing it solo. I'm doing this one right now because it's what it's going to lead into.
Okay.
Hyperion and the Imperial Guard #1, part of Heroes Reborn. Yeah. Written by Ryan Cady. Penciled by Michelle Bandini. Inked by Elisabetta D'Amico and Michelle Bandini. And colored by Eric Arcienega with lettering by Corey Petit. So we're going to talk about Heroes Reborn in a moment. And we're going to talk about Peter Parker and the Amazing Shutterbug as well, because we both got that.
Jesus Christ. I just remembered, yeah.
So, Hyperion and the Imperial Guard actually takes place when he's a teenager. And there's a bit, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but remember in Heroes Reborn where he's gathering up all the bad guys?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is the brood-infected Imperial Guard?
Yeah.
Apparently when he's a teenager, he went to train with the Imperial Guard.
Oh.
And so he's friends with all of them. He falls in love with Oracle. It's this whole thing. And his last mission with them is where they all get infected. So that's what this story is.
Damn, so them coming back kind of was supposed to mean something, but history, yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I really liked about this one is it kept referencing it do little editor's notes, where it'd be like, check out this issue.
Oh, yeah.
But it would reference books that don't exist.
Oh, that's fine.
So it'd be like, check out Hyperion and the Imperial Guard number 88 through 90. And I'm like, what? I was like, that's really cool. So, but it was really a lot of fun. Also, the backup story in this is the Starjammers. Check out this art.
What? Oh my god, hell yeah. Quasar with that mustache.
it's Corsair, Hepzibah, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Havoc, and Cyclops.
Oh my god. And this, I never want to go back to the 616.
I know.
The Summer Boys were actually happy here. I never want to go back.
They're like, here's some bits of them like sparring. Cyclops doesn't have to wear a visor.
Oh my god.
It's so cool.
I
it's a lot of fun. I want this book to actually happen. So yeah.
Honestly, because it's just so fucked up with when you just think about then having to come back. This is honestly halfway. I don't know, very close to the Peter Parker revelation in House of M. Because the Summer Boys just deserved all the happiness and not that whole childhood.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to the other parts of Heroes Reborn. Now, Josue, what order did you read these books in?
Because I do have other Spidey books. I did go Heroes Reborn into Shutterbug and then the Spider Shadow.
Me too.
And then ASAP.
And cool. I think it helped me.
There was a cool line, yeah.
So let's start with Heroes Reborn because we both read it first. Heroes Reborn number 2. This one entirely focuses on Hyperion. And it's written by Jason Aaron. Pencils by Del Keown. I love Del Keown. And Carlos Magno. With inks by Scott Hanna and Carlos Magno. Coloring by Edgar Delgado, Delgo Duck himself. And Corey Petit does the lettering for that story. There's also a backup story at the end, written by Jason Aaron. Penciled by Ed McGuinness. Inked by Mark Morales. Colored by Matt Wilson. Also lettered by Corey Petit. So, this gives us immediately a really great idea of how different this world is than the world we're used to.
Yeah.
Because we get a very familiar sight. Galactus shows up to eat the Earth. And Silver Surfer's like, Master, something's coming at a speed greater than mine. And Hyperion literally flies through his head and kills him. Just kills Galactus right off the bat. And with the line, and the red-blooded American way.
Oh, man.
And I'm already like, oh, man.
All of these mirrored, the starting with that, because what was the last line? and a man sun forged, honestly, American atomic grit, and the red-blooded American way. Like, all right, here we go again.
So basically, we find out that when he took out Dr. Juggernaut, yeah, that was his name in the last issue, he put him away in the negative zone prison, but literally everybody else escaped. So we see him fighting a bunch of people, including the Imperial Guard, infected by Brood. We get to see Mr. Beyonder, which is great.
Mr. Mistleplake, right?
Yeah, in the Beyonder, yeah. Combined. And then we see Peter Parker, quote, photographer, quote, unluckiest man who's ever lived. Likes to think he's Hyperion's pal. And Hyperion shows up and saves him from the Annihilation Wave, which are little baby Annihilation ones, which is great. And he saves him, and then it seems like, oh, he's Jimmy Olsen, you know?
Yes, I thought so too. Same thing.
So, and then he fights a giant Ultron, and Pete's like, great job. We're going to come back to that scene later.
Wait, I'm also want to call out that the emphasis on this, like, Dr. Henry Pym, which it's Hank Pym, but this is also supposed to be Hank Shaw, right? Hank Henshaw.
I didn't even think about it
for DC, like especially with like the cyborg Superman, and it's like the cyborg with the iron with the human heart here.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about it. Like, that'd be an interesting way for them to do it. So, but he saves the best for last, which is the Hulk. And the Hulk, there's something wrong with the Hulk.
Oh God, yeah.
And it seems to me like the Hulk is remembering our universe.
Yes,
but he can't communicate because he's dumb.
Well, I think he's just speaking in reverse. I think he's not cursed, but I think he's like he can't talk right now just because he's the Hulk. Yeah. But I think right now he's saying, if we say everything opposite, I think this is what he's trying to convey, but he's being held back.
Yeah. And then Hyperion murders him, basically. And so that's crazy. And Hyperion's like, I'm the one who's going to do all this and stuff. And he figures out the Hulk's last thing was he called out for Steve.
Yeah.
And he does a pretty big leap of logic, a little bothered by, like, he happens to look down and see Captain America's first name was Steve and be like, oh, he must have been talking about Captain America, unless we know something else. And then we get the backup story, which is literally him meeting what appears to be a beggar outside of the school he teaches at. And it's Captain America recently out of the ice because we saw Blade get him out. So, and this was really cool. It was really grim. And I love that it's not like quote unquote evil Superman, but it's him on his way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I hear you. I mean, and like the page like, of
honestly, it's John Walker.
Yeah, I totally hear. I agree. The page of like Hulk going down, like all the holes, the literal holes, are just like, holy shit! Like, how did he lose it? It wasn't just like a Superman like eye beam like Cyclops continuous shot. He must have been like blinking as he was shooting those out, just because.
Yeah. Well, he said he had to kill him 11 times.
Oh, that's right.
So he just had to keep killing him, and I'm like, what kind of psychopath can sit there and kill someone 11 times?
And then before we move on, in this issue, we do get the little shot of like him finding out what did happen to Peter Parker in the after shot.
Yeah, which does lead us to Peter Parker, the Amazing Shutterbug.
Yes.
Now, I didn't even think about the double meaning of the word Shutterbug, which is great. So, in this one,
really,
the Shutterbug, I was like, oh God, I'm so stupid. So, in this one, we get basically kind of like the street level.
This would be like the front line ish issue.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it reminds me of, if you remember Age of Apocalypse, when they did Universe X, I think it was called, or no, whatever it's called, the one where it's all the normal heroes and they don't have powers in the Age of Apocalypse. So, but obviously that was like post-apocalyptic and shit. So, all right, written by Mark Bernardin, drawn by Rafael De La Torre, pencils by Ron Lim, ink by Scott Hanna, coloring by Jim Campbell, and lettering by Ariana Mayer. So it's just kind of like a sad, like, Peter Parker never got powers, so he just stayed a nerd and got picked on forever. And when we read the other one first and then come to this, we get this really cool perspective because it seems like he's his Jimmy Olsen.
Yes.
But then we read this one and it's like, oh, he hates Hyperion. 100% hates him, like can't stand him. And we find out one of the reasons why is because Hyperion, in his arrogance while fighting some loser villain, causes damage that ends up killing Aunt May.
Yeah.
And so it's really sad. Also in this world, Uncle Ben's still alive, by the way. So that's why Peter basically had to not use his actual brain and became a photographer to make money and everything. And Hyperion, in his arrogance, probably thinks Peter is his Jimmy Olsen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But Peter's like, fuck that guy, basically. And we also find out that Hyperion didn't even finish the job when it came to the Annihilation Wave. There was still one out there, one little bug. Peter manages to take it down using his science, but he does get bitten, and then he starts sprouting arms. Spider arms.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I like that. I finally found my purpose, helping people. Maybe it was there all along. All it took was it just took a weird ass spider bite to bring it out. And I'm like, oh, that's good. So, I enjoyed this. I don't like that it's a one shot.
I know, right? We always complain. It's like, oh, here we go. These tie-ins that might take a little too long or like divert too much from the story. And it's like, well, what if these one shots suck because like they're only like one shots? Yeah. So Heroes Reborn is just like very vibrant. It looks very like hopeful, but goddamn, are these just like such dark stories?
Yeah, there's a rot under everything. Like,
other Marvel events, you can kind of get the tone based on either the writer or the artist that they get for said big event or both. And you can kind of tell the tone where it's going to go, or what, at least if certain deaths are going to happen, like how far they're going to take it. Like, yeah, Heroes Reborn is just like, nothing, I'm really not expecting anything else that it's throwing at me.
And the next issue is apparently Magneto and the Mutant Force. We're getting that next week, so gotta get that one. So,
for sure, I'm going to get that one.
Yeah. So now we're transitioning over to some Spider-Man books. We'll start with number 2 of Spider-Man's Spider Shadow. Written by Chip Zdarsky, drawn by Pascal Ferry, colored by Matt Hollingsworth, and lettered by Joe Caramagna. So this is the world, what if Spider-Man never gave up the Venom suit? And we did get confirmation in the last issue that Hobgoblin did end up killing Aunt May, and that's why Spider-Man brutally beat him to death.
Yes.
Spider-Man goes off the goddamn deep end in this issue. It happened a lot quicker. I thought they'd draw it out a little bit more, but I mean, you know. Basically, J. Jonah Jameson calls him a murderer, and he goes in and breaks J. Jonah Jameson's arm.
He's through the wall.
Yeah. He's like, don't fucking ever, basically, don't keep my name out of your mouth. That's basically what he said. We see MJ, run into Peter, and she's like, what the fuck is happening? She's freaked out by it.
I like the Kingpin scene where it was just like, where he was basically scared. It's like, yo, I think we're actually fucked. Like, before we were just like, we were safe based on their moral compass and their code and shit, but yeah. I think we're kind of fucked with Spider-Man now.
Yeah, if he's willing to do this. And he gets jumped by Shocker and Scorpion, and he literally rips Shocker's arms off, and Scorpion's tail just rips them off, brings them to Kingpin, and Kingpin does one of his little monologues, and Peter has no fucking patience for him and just punches him straight in the face. To the point, and there's so much gore that I'm pretty sure he killed him as well.
Like, I want to say he punched through for sure. Yeah.
So then we see the formation of a new Sinister Six in the attempt to stop him. And it's Doc Ock, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, Electro, Rhino, and their new 6th member, who's the only one who's seen the new Spider-Man up close, and that's J. Jonah Jameson. And that was kind of a cool twist. I thought that was interesting. But basically he's like, hey, I've warned everybody he's a killer. I've been saying it for years. And I'm like, JJ's right. And then they're sitting there and like making their plans. And then we find out that Doc Ock is like talking to one of his flunkies and telling him what to do. And he's like, Terrence, is there anything else you need? And he's like, crystal clear, sir. And he stabs Doc Ock and takes the mask off. And it's Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
And he says, sorry, Doc, can't let you just go and kill Spider-Man when that's my job. So cool.
It is very cool. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this Eddie Brock. Fuck, is like, why is there to hunt down the spider? If he's supposed to be like, because it's also a what if universe. I'm not saying he could be like the the Punisher storyline of the Hunt Down the Spider. But yeah, holy shit, yeah, Peter just going doubling down on the dark and deep end, where like this type of gruesome stuff could have been saved for like the next issue, but no, we're on this one. It's very much like the symbiote was going to take over.
Yeah, it's interesting because once he kills somebody, and if he can justify that in his mind, then yeah, it's a slippery slope. Why wouldn't he kill other people?
Right. Or
like,
at least
they're going to kill people.
At the very least, with like, if again, like, cause the slippery slopes, like, well, was that easy? I can no longer have to deal with them. How he can just like justify it by being like, oh, that's one that killed more than 20 people. I can put it on my list now.
Yeah, basically. So really good. So I really enjoyed it. So
yeah,
that leads us to our next Spider-Man book. I jumped on board for this one. The Amazing Spider-Man Giant Size #1 King's Ransom. Yeah,
it's the conclusion. It's just a simple one shot, and just something actually a very easy read. You did not have to like kind of read the other 3-4 issues for the prelude for this.
It helped that I, have a podcast with you and you tell me about it. So
that does help as well.
Written by Nick Spencer, drawn by Roger Antonio, Carlos Gomez, and Zé Carlos, colored by Alex Sinclair, and lettered by Joe Caramagna. So this is all about Spidey and Boomerang and the relationship that has been developing for years now in comics.
Yeah.
Where Boomerang is his roommate and they're slowly getting respect for each other. They have an adopted child together, basically.
Yeah, they do.
Very much a gay couple. And I love them. I love that at the very beginning, Spidey's looking for backup and he gets Spider-Woman, Iron Fist, Hawkeye, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Wolverine, and every one of them hates Boomerang.
I hate that guy.
And then they're all like, "Why don't you ever hang out with us anymore?" He's like, "What?"
I did love the panel below that, the
Defenders joke.
Yeah, as much as I love a New Avengers reunion, or is this a Defenders reunion? And Wolverine is like, "Can't be Defenders. I never did that." Yeah, you did. Oh, hell, you're right.
Yes, that joke is never going to get old. That Wolverine's in every team. So. But yeah, so basically they have to team up, and in the end it's Spider-Man and Boomerang, and Spidey trusts Boomerang.
Yeah, and I remember every time I hear you just like flutter your eyes like, oh, I love Boomerang, and you're like, yeah, score points, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you might be right about this. You might be right about this, but it had to be until I completely took out the last brick of my wall to just trust this guy.
So the pieces of the tablet that Fisk had, we get the awesome cameo I mentioned.
Yes,
by Black Cat.
That was cool.
Where she just jacks it all, and then Boomerang's like, "We used to date," and she goes, "We really didn't." So yeah, and so Spidey trusts Boomerang, and they discover that hey, if someone tries to take the last piece and fails, or if they're not a true hero, they'll die basically. And Boomerang's like, "I'll do it," and Spider-Man's like, "No, I'll do it." And because he doesn't want Boomerang to die, because he's like, "You're a good guy now, but I don't know if you'll pass this. Let me do it."
Right,
Spider-Man
it is a big test.
Spider-Man has doubts too, and he does it himself. And then he gets attacked by the villains. They just got attacked by, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he finds out that Boomerang betrayed him.
Yeah. 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 Fuck.
I don't like this. And basically he writes Peter a note.
I hate this fucking note too. Spidey, I hated this fucking note.
Where he just justifies it. You know what this reminded me of? Have you seen Dr. Horrible's sing-along vlog?
Oh, hell yeah.
It reminds me of the last song.
Oh.
Where he's singing about how he's finally got everything he's wanted.
Yeah.
And then the last shot is him just looking depressed and just dead.
The silent "a thing" line. Yeah, I guess every time too.
And then this shot of him just being like, back where I belong. Like, I'm like, oh.
Let's not compare the same way as Dr. Horrible. God, no, like, you deserve to be there, you piece of shit. Wallow in it. God, I hate God. He got me, dude. How many issues I read to be like, nope, not buying it. It's fucking Boomerang. I'm not buying his sleazy piece of shit. He's just there to just like wanted to prove himself or to just like to save his own skin, so they stopped calling him a fucking Nazi. That's why he was just doing this. And then the last issue would just be like,
but he's just lame enough of a villain to believe that he could become a hero.
It was these
like Hawkeye when Hawkeye was a villain.
It was just
like everybody's
back
like,
to back
no way.
notes because like it was like the last issue where he left that note for Peter, the first note, and he went again. Like I said, it was like the last brick to just take off on this wall and trust him, and then God fucking damn it.
Yeah. But then we get a really cool reveal, and I loved this because this was my era of Spider-Man, by the way.
Okay.
When this shit was going down. When I was most into Spider-Man. Wilson Fisk wanted to use the tablet to bring his wife back to life, but then was basically confronted with the idea maybe she doesn't want to come back to you.
Yeah.
And he's like, fine, I understand that. So I'll give her what she really wants, which is to bring her son back to life.
Yeah.
And we get the Rose back. I love the Rose.
This is fucking cool.
So cool.
Again, and what have I been saying since the inception of Nick Spencer's run? And he's just been having such a fun time of just like, let me see the list of Spider-Man rogues that have not been used in the last 25 years, like for the most part. And let me actually like either build upon them, use them, like have fun with them. Let me just like show them up. Cause like, there's no way they should just be gone just because they were just like these silly one shots so long ago. So to bring in the Rose that was just like, introduced from like way fucking long ago. Like, I guess, first appearance, Spider-Man 83 from 1970, and he still played a part.
But not as the Rose.
No, as a character.
Richard Fisk.
But then to still build, but then became his own character because the other editor's note of like the reasoning I was like, fuck, if I won't bring the wife back, I'll bring the son. I love that they referenced the Daredevil run, specifically the Bendis run is where that happened, and it's like, fuck yes, like let's fucking do this. Like Nick Spencer just like fixing American's Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, really cool. Really, really dope. Love it. I love the idea of Wilson. Like, think about what we got here.
Yeah.
We got Wilson with the Rose back, but also over in Daredevil, we know he has another son.
Yes.
And this little crime family they're building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another, like, New York-based crossover like Shadowland. Not Shadowland, like the mystical stuff, but, just based with the street-level heroes, That'd be really cool.
Because for like a second here, like this page and a half. I don't know if I get 2 pages because it's a double spread.
Oh, the street level Avengers! I fucking love it.
I literally believed I was in Bendis' New Avengers for a second.
Yeah, I love it. So, all right, moving on. We're going to talk about our X-Men books, and we're going to get the fuck out of here. So, Children of the Atom, number 3.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So this one actually focuses on Gimmick.
Yes.
So we are getting all 5 of them, basically. Creative team, written by Vita Ayala, drawn by Paco Medina, colored by David Curiel, and lettered by Travis Lanham. I think we can confirm they're not mutants.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they... Not exactly the same, but I think they got Fantastic Forward. Basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So they make a point that they find this abandoned spaceship, and they all get on it. And this is then. So this is before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have powers at this point. So we get some cool character development. We find out that is her name Carmen? Yeah, it's Carmen. Is Gimmick's real name. We find out that she's very, very clearly into Buddy, Cyclops Lass. So which is great. And we find out more about her, how she's the one that designs their costumes, and she's the person that always tries to help the group, but never takes care of herself kind of person. So
yeah.
Basically, they find this abandoned ship. It takes off, a spaceship. It takes off, and they have to get out of it and everything. And long story short, they survive. They use escape pods, but this is very much a we just got powers pose.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure that's where their powers came from. And that would mean they're not actually mutants. So they're not going to be able to go Krakoa. So they might think that they are. But we do see in here that Gimmick has a really, really bad reaction to whatever's happening.
So yeah, some sort of manifestation for sure.
So we're going to have to see what happens here. Because each of them have the powers they have been convenient, fun powers.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have gotten horrible twist your body into shapes powers like some people do. So I hope if they keep evolving, I hope that doesn't happen because that'd be really sad, but that'd be an interesting way to go about it. So I'm going to do something unusual next.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to do X-Corp first.
Whew. Very, very wordy. X-Corp.
X-Corp number 1. Usually I save X-Men number 1 for last, no matter the cover, or no matter the story.
Title, yeah.
But no, X-Factor is going last. I don't care. So I got 3 covers.
You got all 3, fuck.
Yeah, I got the Todd Knock portrait cover of Angel. I got the Scotty Young cover, and I got the cover A. So
I thought about the Scotty Young one.
I want to find the one that's Monet, like dressed really nice, but it's hard to find. So, So basically, X-Corp is the company for the X-Men and how they're pushing themselves to the world and how they're going to make money, basically. So who do they pick to run it? Angel and Monet, hell yeah. So, Angel is one of my least favorite X-Men. I don't think I've ever been able to go on this rant on this show.
That's why I'm surprised you got that variant.
It's a variant. So, written by Teenie Howard, drawn by Alberto Fauché, colored by Sonny Go, and lettered by Clayton Cowles. Basically, X-Corp is going to be a company ran by these mutants. They're the ones that are doing the medicines. They're the ones doing all the technology and everything that they're going to be releasing. And they decide throughout this, they go on various adventures. First of all, Josue, I want to ask you, as someone who read it, and isn't super familiar with Monet, how fucking great is Monet?
Dude, she just kicks all kinds of ass.
Like, she's the best character. I love her so much. So you see why I've been obsessed with her for so long. So basically, she's just this badass businesswoman the entire time. And then Angel kind of plays like the good guy a little bit.
Yeah.
And they discover that there's going to be 5 people on the board of directors for X-Corp, and there are 2 of them. The second one is Trinary, who is a mutant that can basically hack computers at will. She usually takes down corporations, so instead Monet makes her a board member, basically, and is like, hey, just stay with me and you'll be taken care of, essentially. So, meanwhile, Angel is visiting a businessman they signed an agreement with, and he's trying to welch on it, so that's what's going on with Angel. But enough of that. Let's get to the most important part of the book. Monet and Jamie Madrox meeting up for the first time in a while. I fucking love Jamie Madrox. Everybody knows this. He's probably my favorite mutant. I always forget about him, like when I think about favorite mutants, but he's probably my favorite.
Well, probably because he actually does get at least get placed in some books, unlike Loa.
Yeah, I do love Loa. I just love her design. She's great.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. So what I absolutely love is we are probably going to start reading the X Factor investigations run fairly soon.
Oh, now for sure.
And literally, it just references it because Monet and Madrox were in that together. So that's why they know each other really well. And she says, "You know what I do if my friend Jamie Madrox called me lady," and she just gut punches him as hard as she can.
Stupid as dupe.
And it's great. And he makes the reference to the dupe stuff where he's just like,
yes.
Literally I don't want, I only want authorized dupes being here because I don't want them going rogue and stuff. And I think that's really cool. And again, it goes back to him using his powers creatively, which is the key to Madrox.
Yes.
So we'll talk about why in a minute. So, basically she offers him the 4th position on the board and he's kind of like, I'm happy what I'm doing. I'm, picking flowers and shit. And she's just like, she basically gives him a reason. We won't get into all the details. I don't have to dig too much into it. So we got Trinary, we got Madrox, and then Angel's in trouble. So Monet's like, oh, we're going to go save him, and we're going to go pick him up. And we find out that the X-Corp base can fly.
The island base.
The whole island base can fly, which is just amazing. So they fly over to Brazil to save him. They pick him up and everything. And yeah, it's just really cool. And I love that they kind of play it off as like, it's just another business day, like Happy Friday. Like, I really like that. Also, I like that their title is CXO instead of CEO or COO or CFO. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, and then they're doing their thing. The thing I mentioned with Madrox was they blew up the lab where he's doing his research, and he was upset because he didn't get a chance to absorb all the dupes. And what he's been doing is having all these dupes with all of his knowledge, doing all this research, so dozens of them, And then at the end of the week, he absorbs them all, and he has all the knowledge they got through the week.
Literally, like, the dopest kind of payday, and he didn't get to fucking cash in his check.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it. So, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to do a lot of, like, espionage and, like, corporate espionage shit. And I love Madrox, and I love Monet. And Trinary is pretty cool too, and I'm very curious to see who number 5 is going to be.
Yeah, no, this one was for sure. I was seeing not hate, but very much like this isn't like the best number 1 that the Dawn of X has been pumping out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I can kind of agree. Like this one felt a lot more to take in than like Sword did, and Sword was like a whole other fucking monster. And this one was just like opening up a business, and it's between 4 people. But it felt like it was like a lot of stuff like being piled on to just like see how the whole Krakoa thing was going to carry on over like from this. So I think this for sure is going to have to like be a while so it can like brew up. Even still, like even like, but it has a favorite. So it's like having Monet shine is going to be awesome. Angel's there that he can still maybe transform into Archangel.
She hinted at that he can.
Well, like his wings were starting to transform when he was like kind of taking too many hits. And then I think the star of the show will be Jamie Madrox, especially when he won't be just such a like a one punch liner or a one hit liner. So he'd be like, I love the way he's written for this.
Yeah. I'm curious to see who's going to be the 5th person. Definitely. That'll be great. And then one thing I really, really like is the fact that there's still 2 openings on the Krakoan Quiet Council. And if the Hellfire Trading Club has 3 spots, X-Corp probably should have one.
That's true.
And I personally would think it would be Angel. They could put him next to Storm and Nightcrawler.
That's true. One of the classes, because even still, like they haven't even like
the only 2
forward.
spots are Storm and Nightcrawler's group, and then Xavier, Magneto, and somebody. Which I still want to be Peeper because that's funny as hell. But yeah, so I'm excited to see where it goes, especially going into Hellfire Gala. So
yeah.
Now we've recently gotten word that X Factor is ending in issue 2, and the only thing we will say about this Marvel is bad Marvel, bad. Why you gotta ruin it? It's so good. It's the best book. I think it's our favorite Marvel book.
It makes no fucking sense. Yeah, hell yeah, it is. Yeah. It makes no sense, like why it's ending, and
especially with this amazing issue we got.
It's the whole amazing series, like from the get go. Like it never dropped the ball. Nobody ever felt like they were being outshined. Like it made everybody actually give more shit about not just Dawkins, but iBoy of all people just became such a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about like the speculation after. Let's talk about the issue.
Yeah. Written by Leah Williams, drawn by David Baldeón, colored by Israel Silva, lettered by Joe Caramagna. So basically we're wrapping up the Morgan story, and where they're like, okay, we need to kill the Morgan, and they're all using their powers, which again, I love how the X Factor team uses their powers combined to figure things out, which is really fun, like iBoy and stuff. And long story short, they find out, okay, there's only one person that can end this, and it's great because Dawkins like, oh, we need a blood sacrifice, so he cuts himself and uses blood basically. And we get the prophecy: a father to his father, a warrior who is no killer, a traveler who goes nowhere, a secret keeper who shares everything, bring an impossibility to battle and win, and only then will the Morgan defeat.
Living on a prayer.
And I was like, oh, that's Shatterstar. Like I knew it right away because the father to his father thing was kind of an obvious one.
Mm.
So. If you know anything about Shatterstar, but then literally David is like, "Oh, that's Shatterstar." Like I was like, "Hell yeah!" So he's still in Mojoverse. Well, we're not allowed in Mojoverse anymore because we stole Winddancer's body. Also, Dawkins tried to pull his dick out on live TV, so which is still great. And they're like, we need a known associates of X Factors have already been awarded they'll shoot on sight. Like known associates, I may have an idea. What's the name of that child you were telling me about? The one with the advanced form of acoustokinesis. And this page, Josue, how happy were you with this page?
Dude, this page was everything, dude.
So we got DJ, who we know from our new X-Men run.
Yeah.
He's like, does this make me an X-Men now? Starring Mark Shepard, a.k.a. DJ, as the drummer. And then Layla Chaney, a.k.a. Layla Chaney, which is great, as the guitarist.
Sophia
Mantiga, aka Winddancer, as the band manager.
Yes.
Noriko Ishida, aka Surge, as the ringer.
Awesome.
And featuring guest star Allison Blair, aka Dazzler, the lead vocalist. So
And then the
Dazzler,
cameras can't handle it.
yeah. So Dazzler is actually okay. Let me make sure I get this right. Shatterstar is Longshot's father, but he's also Longshot's son.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if I remember my lore right, and the Cerebro podcast will probably hate me if they listen to this and I get it wrong. I'm pretty sure Dazzler is his mother.
Aw.
And she's got the Shatterstar
sun, yeah,
over her. Yeah, so I loved that. So basically they're a band going undercover to go, and they're singing a song, and basically Magic Ileana, our favorite, shows up, threatens Mojo, and is like, I saw that crock of shit show that you made about me. Basically, X-Corp, already shout out for the new guys, basically says, I can sue you, but we're going to do this the hard way. Your partners with Krakoa now, sign the fucking dotted line, basically. And Allison finishes her song and says, you're all free now. And so basically all the slaves are freed in Mojoverse.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, this is so big. And then Shatterstar is now free. And I love Shatterstar so much. It's Liz's favorite. I would probably say Liz's favorite Marvel character is Shatterstar.
Really?
He's also in X Factor Investigations.
Oh, excellent.
Later on. So, which is referenced again in this book, where he's like, thank you for the rescue. They're like, you're one of us. And they're going to leave. It's like, welcome to Krakoa. Do you know why you're here? To kill. And so we do the whole thing with the Morgan, which is great. It's done really well.
Yeah.
Also, I love that he's basically wearing hot pants. I love Shatterstar. He's amazing. So he ends up defeating the Morgan, and he kisses Siren's forehead, says this is an honorable end. And then it's like, it's good to see you again, Siren. And then something happens. Morgan does some kind of spell. It says, to the victors go the spoils. And a tendril is attached to him and goes all the way to Richter, which is referenced in X Factor Investigations. There's this great thing in X Factor Investigations where Richter doesn't know he's gay, or that he's bi at least. And Shatterstar very much knows that he is, and very much knows that they're into each other. And it's just really funny. And then he holds his chest and goes, Julio, my love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last issue is going to be part of the Hellfire Gala. So I personally think, follow me on this, because we know Leah Williams is going to write the Trial of Magneto.
To which I hate, but let's put a pause on that. I hate that Marvel just decided to drop that. Like, I thought we were all supposed to have fun at the Hellfire Gala. I know they're supposed to they waited alluded really to something, and I get to have to solicit stuff for later on, but not the intentional spoiler I wanted from this type of event.
Well, we don't know what happens.
Yeah.
We just know Magneto's on trial. That's literally all we know. She's writing it, and we know that she's using the characters from X Factor.
Yeah.
And they're going to basically investigate what Magneto, or who killed this person that apparently dies. And it's going to be a 5-issue mini. To me, this book sold pretty good.
Yeah, hell yeah, it did.
And it definitely filled a niche. And if they felt like the book wasn't profitable, they wouldn't then make it a very key part of the next crossover.
Yeah.
And the same creative team. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're getting X Factor in some form coming out of Hellfire Gala that's going to be different, and we just don't know it yet.
This, or like like this book, instead of just like, has actually like the word cancel been said out loud about this book? It's just that it's ending. And
they said issue 10 is the last issue, but
right, but
X-Men's also ending.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's just be like more of a break, really. Like, it's like more focus this team, take them somewhere else to this mini, and then either the team becomes something else, or we can come back to X Factor so people aren't expecting issue 11 the following month, or it can just we can just be like, nobody hold your breath. The team is still here doing this trial event. And then after that, I could just say, like, hey, just welcome back to X Factor, either 1 or 11, not like renumbering it.
Or they could rename it. It could be like X Factor. They could go back to X Factor Investigations.
Because even still, we were wondering what was going to happen with like Polaris joining the X-Men, knowing that part and not being a part of both books. Because
I'm wondering if that,
yeah,
no, I'm sure that didn't have any effect in the decision. That doesn't make sense. So, but yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried about Marauders.
I mean, I know, right? Now for sure that feels more definitive about the whole thing instead of just one character.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but X Factor has been incredible. It's been my favorite X book since Hoxpox.
It's like, honestly, out of all the titles, it felt like probably the easiest one, if not the best one, as like the jumping on point. If you needed another title besides X-Men, X Factor was it. It never felt like, I mean, if you read Academy X, like we have, all the better, but it didn't feel like the heaviness of the lore like the way Excalibur does.
Yeah. And I saw a tweet about this. Somebody said, no matter what you think of X Factor, it showed so much respect to the Academy X kids.
Yes, like, oh my god, I fucking retweeted that one for sure. Because it showed nothing but love. Like if it was, like us as nerds back then, it's like, this is like the way you were. It's like, this is the shit I was reading, and to be like, as a writer, if I had to continue these characters, what would I do with them? Like, this is the perfect book as like a continuation from a love letter to that era, and just like,
maybe we'll get a new. Okay. I've had this theory for a while, and I've pointed out on the show before, but I really think they still need a school of some kind.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
And I'm wondering if they're going to pivot that way, maybe.
Because like New Mutants is doing that kind of, but it's more like elaborating on like how powers can be worked with one another for like the new generation. But we don't have the school. Yeah,
like because I mean, how easy would it be to take Krakoa and basically make it My Hero Academia? Like, you know what I mean? Like with squads and shit, and they have to like compete against just like Academy X, you know? So
I mean, we did just get a whole new dump of fresh mutants, so we'll see who's been missing too.
Yeah. So I'm excited though.
Oh no, me too.
I think we're gonna. I do not anticipate X Factor being left in the dust and no one ever hearing about it again.
This cannot be the end.
Yeah, and especially because the concept of it, what they need to do, that's an important part of Krakoan society, is to prove that people are dead so they can bring them back to life. You
Absolutely.
know? Like, so that's a role they might have. They might not have their own book, but maybe they will have, they'll pop up in other books, and we don't know what other books they're going to release soon. You know, they could completely, like, change everything up. And, I mean, yeah. It is a shame. We have to address the elephant in the room. It is a shame that there's so much LGBT representation in this book, and it's going away.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one thing that really sucks. Because that was one of the things that we absolutely loved, and that's why I believe it won Best LGBT Book in our end of the year awards last year. So,
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited to see what the future brings. I'm gonna miss David Baldion's Dakin / Akihiro.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he draws him better than anyone. I love it. And it's just the way he draws everybody, to be honest. Like, it's going to be a bummer, but we'll see. Anyways, let's end on a positive note. So, that is everything I have for books. Josue, did you have anything else you wanted to bring up before we go? Oh, you picked up something I got last week. Did you want to talk about it real quick?
Oh yeah, I mean it was pretty cool. I will get the second issue just because like I felt bad for the kid. Like I get that they were all experiments, but you had like the one like the beach scene with like the dude with like the goopy shit and almost contaging like the other kids and stuff. But I felt bad for like the kid with like the beast inside him, where it's not in control. It's not one of those where like, I'm in a shit home, so my inner beast is doing this so I can exact a revenge on like the shit stepdad. Yeah. It was more like, no, don't do this, stop, and like this thing just like taking over. It's like, oh shit, like we'll see. It was interesting, especially with like the whole like where the experiments were taking place. Like the selection process was like very grim, very fucking dark. Yeah, and I think they're all going to be animal based. I think the kid on the beach is very much a jellyfish. Oh, okay. So, yeah, right. They did kind of look like burns afterwards. Yeah. I see that. No, I did want to bring up as a palate cleanser after just like the speculation right now for X Factor, which really did suck. What did you think of like that new trailer for The Green Knight? Did you see it? It's fucking incredible. I know, right? It's got Dev Patel. Of course, it's incredible. It's all you need. Dev Patel is an amazing, beautiful person, and I love him. No, it looked really cool. How serious it's being like considered, but still being very mystical. Like, fuck. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited for this movie. Really excited. Yeah, Liz has been waiting very, very patiently. Been a long time. Yeah, it's going to be her thing. So I have a feeling she's almost as much of an Arthurian legend nerd as I am. Oh, that's cool. She just doesn't really care about Arthur as much. She cares about the side characters. So yeah. Cool. All right. Well, guys, we're going to let you go.
cracking in at 2 hours and 35 minutes, so we're definitely going to wrap this up. You can check us out on Twitter at WHI Podcast. You can check me out at WHI Podcast Keith, Liz, our producer, at WHI Podcast Liz, Josue at Josue Reads Josue. You can check out our sister show, The Jukebox Vertigo, at Jukebox Vertigo on Twitter. And you can always check us out on Geek Elite Media, both on the Twitter at Geek Elite Media, as well as geekelitemedia.com. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your being with us through this rundown of the week of comics. And don't forget to geek out.
This concludes our broadcast.